steak, sausage, biscuit, and gravy, and biscuit sandwiches made with KFC's original fluffy biscuits. All for under $3.95 and all only at KFC. Plus, with waffles and the Colonel's chicken fried rice, we've got something for everyone.
So visit KFC for breakfast today. It's finger-licking good.
Hulu is all your TV in one place, plus more. Watch thousands of hit shows, movies, and award-winning Hulu originals for only $5.99 per month. It's TV without the cable contract and the freedom of on-demand streaming. Get current network shows from ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox, and binge-watch every season of your favorite cable shows. Premium Hulu viewing is brought to you by Proline Automotive and AB Sports, Guam's store for Nike. To advertise on Hulu, call Choice Digital at 989-0042.
It's a multi-state and now international investigation. Police say they've arrested a man in Mexico for stealing the car belonging to a couple found murdered on a beach in Texas.
Clayburgh County law enforcement had been looking for Adam Curtis Williams on suspicion of stealing a vehicle belonging to James and Michelle Butler. The Butlers were found murdered on a beach in South Texas, their bodies partially buried in the sand. Wednesday night, Williams was spotted in Mexico.
Mr. Williams is now in our custody. Williams' bond is at $1 million.
Sheriff Richard Kirkpatrick says the woman he was with, Amanda Nover, is being extradited back to the U.S. along with her toddler. The sheriff would not say whether the two will be charged with the couple's murder, but said he's confident they will resolve the case.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal, the Butlers lived in New Hampshire. A new report says a senior aide to Democratic presidential hopeful Tom Steyer offered campaign cash for endorsements.
A former Iowa lawmaker helping billionaire candidate Tom Steyer's campaign has privately offered campaign contributions to local politicians if they agree to endorse Steyer. The Associated Press reported the arrangement, citing people with direct knowledge of those conversations. The offers would not be illegal so long as they were disclosed, and the AP reports there's no evidence any Iowan accepted the offer or were given contributions from Steyer's campaign. A spokesman for Steyer's campaign says the aide was not authorized to make offers, and campaign leadership outside of Iowa was unaware he was doing so. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Less than 2 weeks to the next Democratic presidential debate, something new on display in the host city, Atlanta. The national debt clock on a downtown billboard. The head of the nonpartisan Peter G. Peterson Foundation says he's hoping it sparks a conversation about the debt and how to manage it. At nearly $23 trillion, the clock pegs the share for each American at around $68,000. Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Lights, camera, fajita! Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors, featuring the new all-star cast, the grilled stuffed avocado with southwestern shrimp topped with Santa Fe sauce, cilantro, limes, and queso fresco. Or the Monterey chicken, juicy chicken breast topped with barbecue sauce, mixed cheese, bacon, diced tomatoes, and chopped green onion. All served on a sizzling skillet with warm flour tortillas. Experience bold, sizzling fajita limited-time flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here. Located at the Tumon Sands Plaza, 2nd floor.
Konnichiwa! We'll be celebrating the 40th Japan Autumn Festival on Saturday, November 16th from 2 until 9 at the Governor Joseph Flores Beach Park. That's Ipao Beach Park. Parking will be available across Ocapeles with free shuttle service every 15 minutes starting at 1:30. Advance tickets available now at the Japan Club of Guam office located on the first floor of Pia Marine during business hours. The Japan Autumn Festival at Ipao Beach Park, November 16th from 2 to 9. Come join us. For information, call 646-8066. This message made possible by Choice Broadcasting.
Live the balanced lifestyle. Take Care Insurance offers proven wellness and fitness programs to encourage individuals and families to live a healthy, balanced lifestyle through preventative care, being active, eating right, relaxing and unwinding, and being socially connected. They have the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs for all ages. Join the movement. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram or visit takecareasia.com to learn more.
Day and good morning. It's 6:06. I'm Mana Silva Tyron with some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. It would appear that there was, in fact, a positive outcome in Guam's request for an extension in the U.S. Supreme Court, which may have just given us more time for the government of Guam to file an appeal in the Dave Davis case against the island's plebiscite law. Attorney Mike Phillips had asked the Supreme Court for an extension in order to build his case to appeal a lower court ruling on the plebiscite vote. The concern, though, was that the deadline to file had been missed. Yesterday, it was reported that GovGuam's request may have been denied. the extension. But this morning, the Supreme Court website indicates Guam's application 19A500 has been granted by Justice Elena Kagan, extending the time to file until December 26, 2019. Attorney Mike Phillips will be joining us on the point later this morning and give us the details. With the extension, Guam will be able to take to the High Court its challenge of the District Court and the Ninth Circuit Court ruling that the local plebiscite law seeking Guam's self-determination is unconstitutional. The FBI executed multiple search warrants on Saipan, including at the offices of the CNMI Governor, Ralph Torres, and Imperial Pacific International, that's Saipan's casino operator. Agents were seen at the office of the governor, Mariana's Consultancy Services, Legend Realty, and other locations around the island as part of an ongoing criminal investigation. FBI Honolulu Special Agent Jason White confirmed the FBI conducted several search warrants around the island, but would not confirm whether the raids included the CNMI governor's office. Several sources did confirm with the Post that Governor Torres' home, vehicle, and office were among the places that were raided, as well as Legend Realty. FBI agents were also seen outside the casino operator's administrative offices. Lieutenant Governor Arnold Palacios later confirmed in a press conference that the governor met with federal law enforcement officers when the search warrant was executed yesterday morning. The governor issued a statement saying that he and his staff are providing the fullest measure of cooperation with law enforcement authorities. As reported in the Guam Daily Post, around 9 a.m. yesterday, FBI agents pulled into the governor's office on Capitol Hill and cordoned off the second floor. Agents were seen going through the desktop computers and hard copy files, and the staff's cell phones were all taken away. Agents were also seen going through files at the office of Alfred Yu of Mariana's Consultancy Services, a consultant of Imperial Pacific International, Saipan's casino operator. Yu's office is located at the IPI-owned Vester Commercial Plaza on Capitol Hill. Yu was listed as IPI's casino lobbyist by the Commonwealth Election Commission, earning a fee of $5,000 a month. FBI agents were also seen meeting in the lobby of the Marianas Heights building where IPI's offices had been raided earlier in the day. White said due to the ongoing investigation, he could not release any additional information about what agents were looking for, nor confirm whether anything was taken during the raids. Few details have been released on an apparent stabbing yesterday afternoon in Tamuning. Guam Fire Department medics were called to Sergeant David Camacho Street in Tamuning on a report that a man had been stabbed. Fire spokesman Kevin Riley says the man had a puncture wound to his lower extremities and was transported to the Guam Memorial Hospital. The patient was conscious and responsive at the scene while en route to the hospital. Police, meanwhile, have not released any details. More news after this.
Life happens. You need to go to work. The kids need to go to school. There are family events, friend events, any event, and everyone needs to communicate. When you need mobile services that you know you can rely on, choose GTA. As the winner of Ookla's 2019 award for Best Mobile Coverage on Guam, you can rely on us to offer you better plans to modernize your life, fit your needs, and keep you connected. So visit us today and let us help you connect. GTA, we start with you.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the all-new Pit Smoked Brisket. How would you like it?
I'll take a man who knows what's what.
Y'all know what? The all-new Pit Smoked Brisket at Subway is smoked slower than a slug going up a down escalator, that's what. I'm talking tender, juicy brisket, naturally pit smoked for at least 13 hours. What's more, it's got layer after layer of smoky flavor. Smoked cheddar and barbecue sauce on delicious Italian bread. Subway, make it what y'all want, what not. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
A public hearing will be held this morning at the legislature on a couple of bills that deal with the Department of Corrections. The hearing by Senator Peter Talahi's committee. On the agenda, the appointment of James Casalo to the Contractors Licensing Board, and Bills 182 that creates an inmate commissary at DOC, and Bill 183 that would give some support for the manpower shortage at DOC by creating a civilian correction reserve program. The hearing starts at 9 o'clock in the public hearing room. Local hospitals have been scrambling to accommodate an influx of patients in the emergency rooms, and it's caused overcrowding as there just aren't enough nurses to assist. But a bill introduced at the legislature this week could provide some relief. Bill number 239, introduced by Senator Mary Torres, adds to the Guam nurse licensure, adds Guam as the nurse licensure compact. The participation in the program will allow nurses in other NLC states to practice here on Guam without having to obtain additional licenses. Membership to the NLC would allow Guam to recruit from a pool of over 2 million nurses from 34 member states. Additionally, with Guam as a hub for the U.S. Armed Forces, the bill would further permit spouses of active duty personnel stationed on Guam to contribute to the work at the hospital. To ensure Guam retains local nurses, the bill exempts recent graduates of UOG's nursing program from applying for multi-state licensure for at least 2 years. Senator Torres says Bill 239 is a simple solution to a long-standing issue. Adding Guam to the NLC increases access to care, protects patient safety, and reduces burdensome costs for qualified nurses. And a Guam businessman who raises Guam fowl and competes in cockfighting has filed a lawsuit against the federal government. In a handwritten complaint filed with the District Court of Guam on Thursday, said Freeland Sungen alleges that the government violated the constitutional rights of people on Guam when it banned cockfighting here. The ban set to take place on December 20th. Last year, the 2018 Farm Bill was passed in the U.S. Congress, extending the cockfighting ban to the territories. Linsonga says that in his complaint that he has been involved in game fowling competition for 40 years, and it is not only part of the culture and tradition, but his hobby and pastime. He's asking the court to declare the ban on cockfighting unlawful and unconstitutional. And those are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Here now is your weather with Ray.
I love Sydney. He's so good for talk radio. He really is.
I love him.
Mostly cloudy, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms through Saturday night with isolated showers on Sunday. Light variable winds becoming mostly southerly, 10 to 15 miles an hour through the weekend. Daytime highs near 87 degrees and overnight lows of about 79 degrees. Woke up to the sound of rain hitting every chunk of metal in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
Cars
some thunder
and tin
too.
roofs. Was there thunder? I didn't catch any of the thunder, and so as a consequence, this morning it might be wet on the roadways that you are going to be driving on. Coming in from Route 10A onto Marine Corps Drive, started puddling up and gets deep over by the Girl Scout place, not too far away from here in Upper Tumon. So Upper Tumonik, so be very, very careful of that. And apparently, it's caused power outages on the points. WhatsApp, somebody sent a picture, and if you're looking at it right now, you're going, I don't get it. The screen's dark. What's that? It's apparently a picture of somewhere here on Guam just a little bit ago, and you can make out some lights. Maybe that's a Anderson Air Force Base or something like that. But for all intents and purposes, there could be some dark pockets. We'll see what we can find out from the guys over at the National Weather Service. In the meantime, we'll take a look at the weather radar here and find out why it's raining so much.
Yeah, folks living way down south, also, if you're coming up into town, expect to hit those puddles. It hasn't been raining that much down south this morning, but it has been from central up into the north. This stuff started forming over us right about midnight and then came on through. This is a trough of low pressure associated with 91W Invest, a weak tropical disturbance that's sliding on across. We'll see on satellite here in a moment just how big that garbage is, though. But this is going to continue right now, at least for the next several hours. And, of course, we're in that change of the diurnal cycle, so the nighttime showers are petering out. And we're having a little bit of a rain out here, and then they'll probably fire back up again as the sun heats things up in just a little while. Satellite picture shows us what's going on. There's a big blob right over the top of us there. That is all this thunderstorm activity that's pushing on through. They're calling for more rain over the weekend because this trough is supposed to pull up the blobage down to the south of us, over us today and tomorrow. I'm not so sure that's going to happen, but I defer to the experts and let them make those forecasts. So right now, that's what they're calling for, a good chance for rain all the way through Saturday and Saturday night, and then maybe by Sunday, things will quiet down just a little bit.
I got you. All right, well, that's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific, banking on the Pacific for 65 years.
Wow, nice smile. So perfect and all.
Thanks. I owe it all to Dr. Robert Yang and his smile team. They do wonders for a healthy, happy mouth.
Got teeth? Don't wait until they hurt. Schedule your routine checkup and cleaning with Dr. Yang and his smile team. Suite 119 in the East West Business Center, Upper Tumon. Call 647-8702 or 3.
The best thing that happened to teeth since toothpaste.
Dr. Yang and his smile team.
They make smiles happen.
Just in case you're curious, the update is the image that I was showing on Facebook Live here is airport view from Sinahanya. So if you're up on the hill looking north, the bright lights in the distance are Sinahanya. You've got the swamp area and most of Agana in front of you, and it looks like lights are out in that area, or at least were. Like I said, we'll see what we can find out from the guys over at the Power Authority, what they got for dark pockets this morning. 6:16, the Ray Gibson Show being brought to you by my friends over at American President Lines, APL. Talk about a global presence and a local home, and you can save all kinds of money with Nanbo Insurance. Now, they'd like me to talk about a bundle-up plan, but I also want to spend a couple of seconds talking about this great Go Green deal that they've got. So if you've got one of those hybrid automobiles and concerns and care about the planet and things like that, there's a way that they might give you up to $350 for your power bill, because, you got to plug that car into something. Call Nanbo Insurance today at 477-9754. Portions of the program also brought to you by the guys over at Wendy's. And what are they cooking up for breakfast for you? Well, we got egg, and we got rice, and we got some kind of breakfast meat for just $4. Applewood smoked bacon, Portuguese sausage, country fried chicken with gravy. It's Wendy's breakfast platter for $4. Now, that's the deal at Wendy's. It's better.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
There's just so much going on around here, and up in Saipan as well.
I know, that story is something.
The allegation, we got the governor's office been raided, and the house, and all the cell phones of the employees, and put them in a bag, and we're taking them with us over to the FBI headquarters. We're going to sit there and go through all your WhatsApps and check out all your Facebooks and all of your Snapchats and TikToks and all of that stuff.
Man, and it's terrible for us out here because we want to know all of the juicy details, and it's almost like saying, "Oh, I got a secret to tell you," and then walking away.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, wait a minute.
It's like a whole island biting the dust over here. This is a big deal. It's an interesting story, and it was going to be an interesting day to begin with, and then I got a note from Mike Phillips on my WhatsApp, and apparently I'll put it up on the screen. I don't know to what degree you're going to be able to see it and make sense of it, but let me get this up on the screen. This here is a screenshot of the Supreme Court of the United States website, and on the website, it talks about this Dave Davis case and all. You do a search for the case, all right? So he pulls up the Davis case, and it gives you the latest information on what's going on with it, up to and including the idea that it's possible here that the indications that we had received earlier about the extension denial might not have been correct. Now, I had not seen any documentation.
Well, he did say that too yesterday when he was on the air. He said he didn't see anything in writing. So
right. So
it was kind of uncertain even from his end.
But apparently we've got something in writing now. Yeah. Application 19A500 granted by Justice Kagan, extending the time to file until December the 26th of 2019. So Mike's apparently got time now to put together and then file this case until the day after Christmas of this year.
Yeah, clearly not very much time, though. December 26th is just about 6 weeks.
Well, they still got the Mount Carmel Christmas stuff they got to take care of. Mike's a busy guy, and this isn't the only client that he has either. Yeah. I imagine that he's going to be rather busy at his place. So you got the raids up in Saipan. You got Mike Phillips now, who's apparently got a job between now and the 26th, and then, or at least to hire the guy that will put the case together. We'll find out from Mike what the options are. I'm breathless and excited with all kinds of anticipation on where this case could take us in the very near term. 888-8255, 888-TALK is the number if you want to get a hold of Duke Sky Talker. He's the guy in the Points Weather Center, and that's the other big story here is all of a sudden you went to sleep last night, clear skies, maybe a little bit muggy where you are, maybe there was a cool breeze blowing, and that was followed by all kinds of rain and power outages and thunder and lightning and all of that. So if you're going to hit the road early, anticipate some delays. It did rain a lot, so there might be flooding and standing water in some of the usual places, maybe even some of the unusual places. Like I said, coming in from Route 10A, right about over by Home Depot, it begins to puddle up on the outside lane. So you're going to have to straddle either the center line, or you're going to have to go into the inside lane if you're going to want to get out. So anticipate some delays.
Yeah, of course, listeners to this show are smart enough to understand that they got that information all yesterday, and we're expecting it. So none of our listeners are actually surprised, but the rest of the island maybe.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was here yesterday too, but I was still surprised when I got up when I got up this morning. There were people talking about that. I went to that wine thing, that Team 24 wine deal last night. I'll tell you. I'll give you information. So here's I don't know whether I did it on purpose. I'm one of those kind of people that sometimes I can work in my own non-self-interest. And a lot of people talking to me about perhaps running for political office in 2020, and it's possible that last night, sometimes you drink too much wine. It's possible.
Did you commit?
Okay, two things then. Okay, so let me take care of this, and then I'll work on that. All right. So hello, everybody.
You eat it.
Everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
I got first place John Ray. That's nice. Followed by Heather Perez. There's Pam Duvall, James Howard, top 10 guy, Nate Horn, Ismail. Wow, what happened to Ismail? Ismail sent a emoji of a tooth, so maybe he's got some kind of distraction because of a toothache or something like that. Big Al Bautista. Mary Lou Bersimmon is online. Bennett Duenas from Family Finance Center is online as well. And rounding out the top 10 is our pal Yoichi Rangil. And nice to see you there. And Ungil Tutao and Ali Palau. 6:23 in the morning. So let me, the rest of it. Okay. I'm just kind of excited because I want to tell that story. Got John Titano is there, Alex Nicosia Ridge, Joy and Pinko, Gabrielle Williams. Good morning, pretty. Nice to see you there. Mark Mendiola. Good morning, pretty. Ken LG. It's Friday. It's Frisky Friday. Your former governor, Carl T.C. Gutierrez. I saw him on the road yesterday. I picked up Mayumi from school, and I'm headed towards the dreaded Bank of Guam intersection. And I see this car coming by, and I'm looking in the front seat. Son of a gun, there's Governor Carl T.C. Gutierrez driving one of his daughters around.
Oh, cool.
Because apparently that's what happens when you get to be, the kind of the retiree, for lack of a better word, even though I know he's working. He's just driving the kids. He's driving his daughter around like I'm driving my daughter around.
When we were in Hawaii, remember I sent that picture? Did you ever send it to him when I thought I saw him on the road and... It was the yellow car that said sunshine in the back.
Yeah,
it said, Uncle Carl.
I don't remember yesterday, so I couldn't possibly remember something like that. But I just thought, there we are. Here's the prince of politics here on Guam, the titular head of the Democratic Party, and he's chauffeuring his daughter. And I'm thinking about the same thing. Here I am, morning mouth, guy that drives 93.3, managing partner of a blossoming, media empire. And what am I doing? Taxi driver for my daughter.
Yep.
Right? So that's our lives now, Gov. Gwen Tominglu is online. I see Mark Anthony, not the singer, the other one. Ike Iseki is there, Lillian Cruz, and who else? I already said his name. Rich Fran Tenorio Kitsutsu are online. Nick Perlowski wondering what caused the outage. Was it a snake, cat, frog? Maybe it was dengue mosquitoes. Maybe they're no longer flying solo. It is possible that there are now squadrons. They've organized themselves into squadrons and air battalions taking out the vital parts of the Guam Power Authority's distribution system. Stranger things have happened. Keena McCausland's online, said happiest birthday to Dominic Uggan on Sunday. That's the son-in-law. Jennifer Poshnitker, Ray Joe Fernandez, Yabit Camacho is online. So is Rhea Babauta Garrido. Good morning to you. What's that, Nick Perlowski? Civilian prison guards. Didn't they do a movie like that once? Police Academy, Citizens on Patrol, something along those lines. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I hear what you said, but I don't want to work in the. Let's train and hire professionals to work over at the Department of Corrections. Because I don't want to send civilians into that job. I think it's bad enough as it is. Vince Castro says no power in Pago. Rico Blancaflor reporting a blackout in Mighty. Hell with the rain. Why don't we have power? No power out in Pago. It's spreading. Right, Rose Green, O'Mary Park. Why don't you see if you can dial up Art? See if he's awake now. It's possible that where he lives, there might not have any power. Mary Park's online. I see Ed Massey there. John Ray Ogun and Vivian Cunningham. Nice to see you there. Richard Leon. Jan Mabini. And Jan, I just started reading is an autobiography on Apolinario Mabini. When last time I was in the Philippines, took a tour of a place, and they've got hero worship on their leaders from a long time ago. So, you go by the big Rizal place and you hear about the revolutionaries and things like that, and I recall a connection between Apolinario Mabini and Guam, and I wanted to know a little bit more about this great tactician, this great statistician, not a statistician, a strategic thinker. And so I just the other day started reading his autobiography. Melina Montaño is there. Greg Karabrock's online. Andrew Camacho. Mike can begin preparing the request to extend the extension because he needs time to wrap all those Christmas presents. Well, it's just an extension to put together the case. There is still a very, very slim chance that the SCOTUS is going to pick up our chance here for the writ of certiorari. But at least that stumbling block has been removed now. Renee Diaz-Punzalan out in California has got the radio on. Sherry Iriarty and Renee Diaz-Punzalan also doing a whole lot of skating around. She's been posting up some cool videos of her on ice skates. Randy Kruger's there. Wen, good morning. Nice to see you there last night. Wen will be on the radio this morning with other speech therapists in the 8:30 time frame. It's Fun Friday. Well, you better believe it's going to be. Well, I'm here, right? Mana's here. Mike's here. We're going to have a good time. Lealoha Moylan Alston. There's Lady D is online, and that well, Mario. We had a bunch of people. They said that's just the people that I can see, but the screen thing is reporting that we've got a rather large and big. We're filled the capacity here in the room this morning. So, do we want to jump into the headlines, or do you want to figure out what it is that I did last night?
Of course, I want to know what you did last night.
So last night, Team 24 had the art and wine deal over at Triple J, and
so
as everyone knows, I'm a big supporter of whatever.
13, yeah.
Check 13, all those guys, and so I went there, and there's more than one or two people that took me aside and started talking about, hey, I heard you on the radio talking about running for political office, and we really want you to do this. We really will support you. I said, I really am interested, but based on what I've been told, my read here is that I'd have to leave the radio. They'd make it so that I'd have to leave the air out of fairness to the other candidates that will be running that don't do a morning radio show. And I got to eat. I have to earn a living. I got to earn a paycheck. And they said, well, maybe there's a way around it. And one of the people that said maybe there's a way around it was Jim Brooks. And you might recall Jim knows a thing or two about laws. I said, tell you what, Jim, I'll tell you what. Here's the deal. If you figure out how to do this, I'll challenge the law. I'll go ahead and sign up, pick up the packet, and then start doing it. And if somebody complains, then we'll go ahead and challenge it. And he says, yeah, okay. But I said, otherwise, see if there's something already in the law that might allow me to do this and still have a radio show, as long as I'm not referring to myself as a candidate or expressing any thoughts on my platform. So Jim's going to be looking into that. But it also occurred to me as a conversation I had with somebody else. I said, it's possible, and these kinds of things can happen, right? Is the Democrats and maybe others inside of even the Republican Party might be so intimidated that they'd start digging up dirt on me. And I don't know. It's possible. It's possible last night, Mana, that I might have even contributed to the treasure trove of dirt that they got on me. So there was a silent auction. And there was a silent auction, and there's this really pretty painting that I wanted, and it was only $50, so I bid on it. And then, because things like that.
Was it a painting of a peach or a
No, it's a painting of the Boondocks. It's just kind of jungly painting, and I'm doing a lot of hiking these days, so I thought it would be nice to have around the house, kind of remind me of adventures that I have in the boonies. And then somebody bid against me, and then so I raised it to like $75, and then I hid the silent auction sheet in front of me. I hid it, and then when they came looking for it, and I had to give it up, they put it back on the table. I went to the table and I took all the pens.
There's surveillance cameras everywhere, right?
Yeah, it's inside Triple J. And so the good news is I won.
Yeah.
I won the painting.
I wonder how that
but everybody apparently knew what I was doing. Uh-huh. And so Andy Wheeler's on the microphone and basically told everybody, hey, look, Ray Gibson won the painting. No surprise. so there it is. It is possible that I might have bet just
and so
with
that would be
move.
Considered a crime of moral turpitude.
There's some kind of right up there with Matt Rector stuff. I got that feeling that it is possible that that's the sole thing that people will be able to use against me if I've decided that I was going to run for some kind of political office. You people can't be serious wanting me in the legislature. Guys,
Have you heard the show?
Can I skip to governor? Can I just skip to governor? 6:31 in the morning, and all kinds of stuff to talk about. We'll see if we can ramp up. Unable to get a hold of anybody over at the Guam Power Authority just yet. We'll see what we can find out and find out why there is no electricity in portions of the island. Well, mean, I know why. It's raining. That's why. Yeah, we haven't got the new generator yet. We'll move it in pieces over to the new place, land it this afternoon, and turn the lights back on. It's 6:31. Time for a look at headlines with news from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Montesilva Tyron.
Guam may have just been granted its request for an extension in the appeal in the island's plebiscite law. Attorney Mike Phillips had asked the Supreme Court for an extension in order to build his case to appeal the lower court ruling on the plebiscite law. This morning, the Supreme Court's website indicates that Guam's application has been granted. Justice Elena Kagan extending the time to file until December 26. The FBI isn't giving too many details in the apparent investigation into some criminal activity in Saipan. They executed multiple search warrants on Saipan, including at the offices of CNMI Governor Ralph Torres and Imperial Pacific International, which is Saipan's casino operator, among a number of places that were searched yesterday. And few details have been released on an apparent stabbing yesterday afternoon in Tamuning. Guam Fire Department medics were called to Sergeant David Camacho Street in Tamuning on a report that a man had been stabbed. GFD says that the man had a puncture wound to his lower extremities and was transported to GMH. Police have not released any details. And those are some of your headlines from the Guam Daily Post. I'm Montesilva Tyron.
Thanks, Montesilva Tyron. 6:32 in the morning. Christmas coming up, and if you're wondering about saving some money so that you can buy Mana and I Christmas presents, here's what you do: take the savings off your phone bill. Call iConnect, and they'll tell you how they'll be able to do that. And some great promotional plans that they've got that could get you a year's worth of service with a free month and a phone. Their number is 888-8888.
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your fix every day with the Points NFL Pick'em Contest. Get the latest updates as we check out the past week's performance and break down the upcoming action. Get your game on by calling the hotline at 888-TALK or sound off on Facebook Live at thepoint.gu. League members get a chance to win some awesome weekly prizes with a shot for your choice of a new GTA phone. The NFL Pick'em Contest is brought to you by Current Guam with special thanks to GTA.
Checking the traffic gizmo, I'm looking at it, and it's hard to tell from the traffic gizmo where exactly it's raining. It doesn't have the weather feature attached to it, but it will tell me where there's a little bit of slowing down. And you'll see some of it at the intersection of 8, 10, and 16. But more importantly, as you move away from that, as you get closer to San Vicente Drive, expect some slowing down around there, in between Zalaguac and San Vicente Drive. If you're headed northbound, also moving slow in the opposite direction if you're traveling on Route 8. Don't see too much that's going to slow you down up in Jigo Land, all the way into Dededo, all the way into Upper Tumon, and the rest of the island. Then you can get into Tamuning. It's mostly intersection traffic that I'm looking at right now. Might also see a little bit of traffic in Agate as you're making your way through the village. Might be some slowing down around some of the construction areas and just standing water and that kind of thing. At the intersection at Sumai, that's also busy, and you'll see a little bit of a slowing down along Route 1 in between Polaris Point and Big Navy. At 6:34, that's right now traffic on a wet Friday morning on The Point.
Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hafa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mescla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mescla, a true taste of Guam.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-8255.
And that's almost the instructions for me as well. It's just I got a lot of stuff floating in my mind, and it's got to get out there. It's got to get through the process and out the mouth into the microphone and to wherever it is that you are, so we can go through all of this stuff together and try to sort out what's going on. Yesterday it was all but dead. Miracle in Christmas time. That's what I'm referring to. It a Christmas miracle. I wake up this morning and it looks like it is not completely dead over at the Supreme Court. It looks like Justice Kagan has taken a look at the application for the extension and apparently has granted it. We now have until the day after Christmas this year to put together the case and then present it to the Supreme Court for their review to see if they'll even take it. The Supreme Court gets somebody on the order of 1 billion requests to hear cases. They don't take all of them. And it is possible that they may take a look at the Davis case and go almost immediately at first blush, yeah, this Ninth Circuit did all right with this, and we're just going to leave it be, and that will be the end of the case. However, stranger things have happened in Washington, D.C., and it is possible that they may use this case to see if we can balance some disagreement between the different ways that the circuits view the 15th Amendment. We talked a little bit about that with Mike Phillips, and it gave me a headache, so I don't know how far I'm going to talk about it today in the broadcast. But there's apparently going to be some new shoes that get strapped on this. So if you thought maybe there was going to be a shift in the priorities as a result of not having to go to the Supreme Court, well, maybe not. Maybe they will continue on with this process. We'll see if we can find Mike and talk to him a little bit more about it. And the nature of the surprise is, hey, how did you know? He also originally sent back a note after that. He says, Ray, this is not one of your pranks, is it? You didn't dummy up a website thing that looked like the Supreme Court's website and send it off to me, did you? What is that Tracy's writing here? I'm fairly certain I signed a petition circulated by the committee to elect Raymond Gibson for senator. Have I got a hold of Art yet? The answer is no, I haven't got a hold of Art. But I am getting word from folks. We said that Mighty's power was out. Somebody else chimed in this morning on the Facebook Live and said, no, it's on. Josephine Bloss is there. Nice to see you there, Major. Vicky Ganashis, Borja, Pat, and Norma Jean Flores are online. So is Ron and Cindy De La Rosa. Sorry I had to start the show without you, but I'm glad you're all here. Therese Ugg and Rigel taking care of the morning ironing in the house. Paris Mendiola Bloss. And we've decided we like Paris, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll always have Paris. Cousin Tommy Barcinas. Bruce Dinsman is online. Good morning to Ted from the ranch, Frank Whitman, Charlene Marchessault, and Anthony Kaminga is online. And all the way from Houston, Texas, Gus Castro Zangas is joining in and hitting us up on the Facebook Live. Nice to see you there. 888. Now, if we can take him. If that's all right. See if I know he's awake is the thing. Mike's asking in what order we want to start taking guests here this morning on the phone. And the deal is we'll take them in any order that we can get them in. It seems to me that there is a bunch of high-level issues. As I said, we've got the deal in with the Supreme Court. But that's not the only thing that's going on. I want to see if I can get a hold of our Saipanese correspondent, Brad, to find out what the scuttlebutt is. I mean, you see it here on the front page of the Guam Daily Post. And there's pictures. I would like to know where they get these outfits. I kind of like. I want to get one of these tactical outfits that these FBI guys wear.
I think you can get that at GPO, like right when you walk in that little kiosk.
Really, right?
Yeah, they have those.
So what they sell like cool Zippo lighters too? That's
yes.
and the tourist hats that everybody gets to wear. But these are outstanding. FBI raids governor's office, casino operator's office in Saipan. Seems to be a flurry of FBI activity here in the Mariana Islands. Is it possible that they have unearthed corruption? What? Corruption in government? They're in a casino? Shocked and amazed. I tell you what, 20 away from 7 o'clock in the morning, and Attorney Mike Phillips joins the broadcast this morning. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Real good, Ramon.
Thank you so much. It's an interesting morning, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very interesting, very surprising, and very, very pleased. God, so happy about receiving that decision.
I was going to say, how did that fall into your hands here? I'm going to put it up on the screen so that the people can wonder about what it is that we're talking about. This is a screen cap of a search on the Supreme Court of the United States website. They've got one like everybody else does. You punch in Davis case in Guam, and this is what will come up. And you can get all of the paperwork that has so far been submitted to them. But the paperwork also says on this website that the extension had been granted.
That's correct. What I'm guessing happened is that when they used that word rejected yesterday, they were referring to the electronic filing, which is what they said. And I think the natural assumption was, okay, then if they don't even allow your filing or they reject your filing, then obviously they're not going to rule on the merits of your motion. Mm-hmm. And in this case, Justice Kagan did. And I don't know the relationship between the rejection of the filed notice electronically versus our hard copy, because we sent them literally a box of information and our motion. And so they received that, or she received it, and wrote on it. And I was notified early in the morning through email, and I continued to look for messages from the Supreme Court. So I found that one. I opened it, and I found what you see there, yeah, which is a notice of Justice Kagan approving Guam's motion for the extension.
Well, I'll be darned.
As I say, it's a Christmas miracle, Mike.
Well, it's a small birthday gift for the governor, I guess, because today's her birthday.
Happy birthday, Lou. I heard that there was a party, but I wasn't invited because they know I don't have $1,000.
I wasn't at the party, but I'm glad I was able to deliver this one.
All right, so I'm assuming that everybody's running around saying, "Wake up, get up!" All of the lawyers in the government are now being summoned to the governor's office to move forward now and figure out what the next step is going to be. It seems to me that you've done your part here. Are you now going to be bird dogging the rest of this now? Because it seems to me that you've got through a busy holiday season anyway. I mean, you still have your big party to plan. That's literally true. There is a big party that happens at the Phillips Bradalio offices every year around Christmas time. You still got to plan that and put together a case for the Supreme Court.
Yeah, well, I'm going to defer to the governor on her intentions and the plans. But like I said, I've been willing to assist when asked. And I will defer to Governor Liu with regard to any plans that they may have.
But do you want to, Mike, take this to the Supreme Court yourself, or do you want to outsource it to somebody, one of these big Supreme Court lawyer guys that it's $500 an hour, but you got a pretty good shot at getting the writ in?
Yeah. First of all, the chance of the writ is somewhere between a 1% and a 3% shot. So those odds are there. We beat these odds. I don't know what the odds were here. I knew they were a real long shot, but Guam took the shot and we were able to hit it. And so, like I said, I'm going to defer to the governor on everything that might happen next. Mm-hmm. And when they're solid on that, I know she has some feelings on it, so I'll defer to her on that, and then be more than happy to answer any questions afterwards.
Oh, right on. Well, we'll see what the statement's going to be out of the governor's office. My guess is that Janella is doing her makeup right now, and we should have some kind of commentary from them before too much longer. And I think it would be wise to take counsel's counsel from yesterday. And while there is now this chance that something that could be moving in the Supreme Court of the United States, I think you offered some pretty dynamic ideas on how other ways that we might be able to solve this self-determination crisis.
Well, there's a number of ways, I believe, to attract the Supreme Court's attention, and it really is still the number one reason that the Supreme Court grants certiorari is to resolve splits among the circuits, and we do have a split here. I don't think it's their most pressing case, but it's very clear there's a split between the 9th and the 6th. And, I would think that, in my humble opinion, if the Supreme Court wanted to resolve that, they declined the petition for cert from a Sixth Circuit case recently that which would have ruled against Davis. So they let that stand. If there was a chance, I would hope it would be by granting a Ninth Circuit case to then reverse it. And so we kind of have the pieces in place here. It's still somewhere between 1% and 3%. So I guess if the odds are favoring us, then we're up to 3%. It's still a long shot.
It's still a long shot.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to let you go because I'm sure that the governor's trying to call you right now on the phone and say, Miguel, what do you think? And so you go ahead and brief her on all of that stuff.
We spoke very, very early this morning. Yes.
Oh, you did?
Very happy. And I just said I would defer to the governor on what happens next. But no, I've already spoken to her, so that part's done.
Okay, gotcha. Well, you've talked to her. Now you've talked to me. You can go back to bed.
Thanks, Ramon.
All right,
I'll talk to you soon, man.
I hope so. 6:45 in the morning. Attorney Michael Phillips there, and that's the upshot on the case. 888-8255, 888-TALK. If you've got some thoughts on it, I mean, it sounded like it was all done yesterday, and we're all ready to start burning boxes and all of that. But it's still not a Supreme Court case. It's just the extension has been filed. I'm just excited because it's talk radio. Dude, gives me something to talk about. There's other things that are out there to talk about, including what happened up in Saipan. I was beginning to riff on that before Mike called, and now Art Paris is on the line from the Guam Power Authority. Rather wet morning today, Art. How you doing?
All right, Ray. Yeah, no problem. Besides, we needed the rain, Ray, so that's okay with me. Just calling in. We have an ongoing outage right now. It's right now we have areas of Haggadah Springs, going up to Center Chalapago, and areas of Bye-Bye that are out right now. We had a problem with the Haggadah substation. It caused some circuits to go offline. At the same time, it affected some services one of our IPP partners, MEC, one of the MEC baseload units, and that took out some circuits. Most of them are most of the circuits that were affected are back online, back in service. But this area of Gadget Springs up towards Maimai is still out, and line crews are responding to backfeed those areas.
Okay, all right. So take a look and see if the guys can go out there and switch things around to get the lights back on. Any indication of what it was that caused the failure at the Ganya substation?
Nothing yet, Ray. The crews' focus right now is to backfeed the circuit, get it back online. They can troubleshoot that and make repairs to it if needed.
There's been a lot of work on that substation in the last year.
That's correct. That's also the substation. We'll have those intermittent battery backup systems coming online, so that if we have some problems like this, we can minimize the number of circuits affected. So that should be coming online, if not by the end of the year, so early part of the new year.
Okay, but no problems, no generation problems. It's just distribution at this time.
Well, the generator that were affected were one of the MEC baseload units with the unstable that it caused on our power grid, and that tripped the unit off.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see what you're saying. So there was a problem in generation, and that caused the trip out of the Agano substation, and now we've got to reset all the breakers and as you said, backfeed.
Well, actually, the reverse. Problem in the Agano substation caused the generator to trip. It noticed some problems on the fault on the lines, and it protected itself, isolated to cut some circuits. But yeah, you got it right.
I got it right, just in backwards order.
That's correct, just backwards order. But yeah, that's accurate.
And that's why I'm not on the CCU.
I think for the power users, they really just want to know, bottom line, how long is it going to be until our power is back on?
Yeah, but most of the circuits, he says, are back up.
Yeah, within the hour, we should get it back online.
Right. Okay, so Agano Springs area through Maimai might be anticipating a little bit of a delay, but the crews are on it and they'll get it straightened out.
That's correct.
Got anything else going on?
That's about it, Ray. Oh, you know what? Just shout out to our veterans within the authority. We did something on our Facebook page, and
cool.
We're going to post up some of these their names and so forth. Just to thank them for their service. We're posting up those who have served and those who are serving in the Guards and Reserves, and those who have served in the active military duty as well. So they can see those number of employees. We have a lot. We have over about 87 employees who are veterans within our ranks. So we're pretty proud of that.
Well, and do you guys consistently get awarded with the EGR, the ESGR when it comes time for the awards? Because the Power Authority and many of the other utilities in the government of Guam are actually very, very face forward when it comes to USERRA benefits and taking care of the Guard and Reserve and their families as they are deployed. So I wanted to point that out as well. You guys going to be working on Monday? Is there going to be GPA on Monday?
No, that's going to be a holiday for us, but we're still going to be operations is always online. You know how that works, and we're always going to respond to whatever comes, whatever problems are out there. So the only part of our organization that will be online will be operations. Gotcha.
All right, and maybe Tracy can tell me later on if there's going to be, if I desperately needed to pay a power bill on Monday, whether I'd be able to take care of that one way or the other. I'll talk to you soon, Art.
Thank you much, Ray. Take care.
All right, buddy. You take care of that cold. I can hear you got a little bit of mucka stuck up there. 10 away from the top of the hour. Raining cats and dogs here on Guam. Apparently raining FBI officers up in Saipan. Brad Rizala, our Saipan correspondent, joins me now. Good morning, Brad.
Hey, Ray. How are you this morning?
I'm okay, because near as I can tell, I'm not being investigated currently by the FBI. I can neither confirm nor deny an active investigation going on in anything to do with the Ray Gibson show.
Well, but I hear the lights are still out.
Yeah, we just had that conversation with Art. We had some weather and some instability in the system and caused parts of it to trip out, but we'll get the capital city back on before long.
That's all right. Well, we've got rain here too, so we're sharing in that. But for the first time in forever, if you need some power, we can send some your way.
And hopefully we won't have to do any of that load shedding and that degree of power sharing. But you know what? We've got our own interesting FBI tales here on Guam, and a mayor that has been arrested. And every time they bring him before the courts, one way or the other, we get all kinds of new juicy information. Not so much related to the crime as much as it's related to the individuals and love triangles and sex parties that apparently allegedly had been going on here. And then, just as that story begins to go dry for a little bit, all of a sudden we hear about FBI raids involving your governor, the casino operators, and others in Saipan. That's got to get everybody in that town talking.
Oh, actually, I hadn't heard about that.
Get out of here.
Sorry, I'm cramped. Hey, yeah, wow. It was an interesting day yesterday, and where everybody kind of was scrambling for information pretty early. But what's basically come down is that early yesterday morning, the Federal Bureau of Investigation conducted a number of raids across Saipan. They had a bunch of folks that came in from offices, and not just Saipan, our local one-person office, and they didn't just pull in the folks from Guam regionally. They pulled in 20 to 30 agents that brought a whole bunch of people here and conducted a bunch of search warrants at the governor's office, the governor's home, the governor's vehicle, the offices for Imperial Pacific, and different offices within that. Also, the Torres Brothers law firm.
Huh.
So that was the scene yesterday, and it was not something that was over early. The FBI had been in that office at the governor's office well into the late afternoon. In fact, as of their press conference that they gave after 4 o'clock yesterday, the FBI still had agents at the governor's office.
That's something else. What do you suppose they're looking for? I mean, there are all kinds of investigations, and it's not the only. I mean, we've heard of FBI officers raiding offices here on Guam and confiscating notebooks and laptops and iPads and things like that. And then you don't hear about any other kind of investigation. It's, oh yeah, we were looking for something, didn't find it. Here's your stuff back. Any indications or any gossip up in Saipan on what these guys might be looking for?
Well, of course, we live out here. This is a world of gossip and rumors and all that other stuff. But I don't think that you have to stray too far. I mean, you look at the targets of that. You've got one prominent family in the Marianas, and you've got the casino, and so trying to figure out some sort of a link in there. And I don't think it'd be completely responsible for me to speculate, but I definitely have a few ideas.
Well, but I'm okay. So for clarity, I'm not asking you to speculate or tell me, that we know this for sure. But like I said, I mean, there is a lot of gossip, there is a lot of rumor going around, and are there allegations? Are there whispers in the breeze there in the Munglu up in Saipan about some kind of corruption between the government and the casino operators?
Well, I think you could look back to an article that came out from Bloomberg not too long ago. Was it last year?
Yeah.
Around this time. And at that point, they mentioned a lot of land dealing issues and having the Torres Brothers law firm on retainer for IPI and how that connection could have links to corruption or could have indications of corruption. And I'm sure they're looking for something along those lines. It's definitely not a leap to think that could be what it is when you think of just the two entities that they raided.
Well, it's going to be interesting over the next couple of days, and it is possible that there could be other reporting on based on what the nature of the investigation was about. But so far, nobody's been arrested, right?
Yeah, to our knowledge, nothing's happened yet. It was just a bunch of seizures of information, electronic equipment. We're talking like phones and computers and a bunch of paperwork. So that's the latest that we have. But you know how this stuff works. I mean, we're going to find out a lot of stuff in the next coming days, and we'll see what happens over the weekend. And what happens after Veterans Day.
So the governor's statement is that he and his staff are providing the fullest measure of cooperation with law enforcement authorities. My priority has always been to continue in pursuit of what is best for the CNMI and its people. This has not changed. Was there any other statements that came out of the governor's office or even the casino operators?
Well, the casino operators said essentially the same thing. But, with the governor's office, of course, we hope for the best because this is a guy who's really kind of led us through two storms when Governor Enos, the late Governor Enos, passed before Solar. It was really Lieutenant Governor Torres at that point who had this going. And a lot of people look to him. The party is really big, and it will make a really big impact on our community if charges do end up coming out. But what's encouraging is to hear something like that they are open and they are cooperating. So
is this an election year for your governor, lieutenant governor?
No, so that's every 4 years. Our last election was, amazingly enough, after the typhoon. We only got delayed a couple of weeks, but we still had our election in 2018.
Okay, all right. Kind of curious, because it seems to me that you guys run a little bit opposite to where ours are. All right, groovy. Listen, Brad, one other thing. Did they find the body that was attached to the car that went over Banzai last week?
Unfortunately, they didn't. They identified who she was. They contacted the family. Families come in, and they're going to be having a service this Saturday. But the search had ended. We'd like to thank really good folks. We had help from the Coast Guard came out and provided assistance, and it's just a real tragic story for that family. And we hope the best for them.
Yeah, well, it's just crazy when you think about it. No indications of why the vehicle was driven over the cliff, and it's not the first time that somebody's done that.
Well, in this instance, there was indications that people who are familiar with the late driver of the vehicle, she had posted something on her Facebook page just in the moments before she did that.
I see. So indications are perhaps it was a suicide. All right, Brad, it's always fun talking with you, even when it's about crazy stuff like that. Cars going over Banzai. 6:57 in the morning. You have a terrific day. Try to stay dry. All right.
You too, Ray. Take care.
It's always a blast. The things that happen, the similarities and the differences between Guam and Saipan, and apparently maybe there are some things that we've got in common because we've got FBI in the headlines. Wow, on both islands. Imagine that. 888-8255. A rollicking first hour of the broadcast. You've got the telephone numbers. Don't be shy about using it. Hey, if you've got something you want to share with me, then do me a favor. All right, for those of you that just tuned into the show and you just kind of discovered the fun, the frivolity that is the Ray Gibson experience, then here's the deal. Whenever I say share, we like to put the share songs on the actual radio. A minute and a half away from the top of the hour, Melissa Salasakimoto is online. Joette Cruz says, good morning, Ray, Mike, and Mana, even if it's raining. No frowny faces Friday. No, we're not, no frowny faces allowed today. Bill Pettit is there. I see Karen Otiwi. Mark Cruz is waving. So is Eunice Mendiola. And what else is going on? Joe Cruz is up early. Jasper Sill, why do people drive in the rain with their lights off? I don't know. I find that I almost instinctively and out of habit when I'm on the road turn on the headlights to the car, even when it's not raining.
Had a guy pull on a VPAL road on the Marine Corps Drive this morning. It was like 4:45, no lights, and it was pouring rain.
Charlie Amos is online. Michelle Peer is online. Are you back in town, Michelle? Well, I know that you signed up to be a part of that holiday bazaar up at Top of the Mar. So I've been telling everybody to be on the lookout for your new, your kind of Guam Seal design artwork up there. So I'm glad to see that you're at least online here this morning. Rudy Magallanes is there. 888-8255. Keep that number handy. You might need that in the next hour of the program. Coming up, I've got Fox News Live. On the other side of that newscast, we'll provide you with some local news and coverage provided by the Guam Daily Post. Mana Silva Tyron's going to take you through that. Jerry Roberts ought to be back in the studio after a day of the Live to Lead conference. We'll get debriefed on that and find out which of your competitors went when you did not go. See what happens. And then, I don't know, we'll talk about all kinds of other stuff. At 7, here's the news.
Another transcript revealed. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The lead committees on the impeachment probe making more testimony public. Fox's Jared Halpern is live on Capitol Hill.
A Deputy Assistant Secretary of State George Kent told House investigators President Trump wanted Ukraine's president to go to a microphone and say investigations, Biden and Clinton. Kent testified in a closed-door deposition last month. Democrats have released a transcript. Kent also lays out what he described as a campaign of slander against former U.S. Ambassador in Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch, orchestrated by President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. In questioning from Republicans, Kent said he had no direct knowledge security assistance to Ukraine was tied to opening investigations. Kent is expected to testify in an open hearing next week. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. There were 2 more closed-door more depositions scheduled for today, one with former National Security Advisor John Bolton, who has not shown up, but Jennifer Williams did. She's an aide to Vice President Mike Pence, who was on the call with Ukraine's president. A New York judge orders President Trump to pay $2 million to settle a lawsuit over misuse of his now former charitable foundation for political and business purposes.
The court pointed specifically to a fundraiser that the president had on January 27, 2016 in Iowa to benefit veterans charities. You'll remember that the president held that event rather than appearing at a Fox News political debate. The court ruled that the fundraiser was actually a campaign event and not a Trump Foundation event.
Fox's John Roberts at the White House. The Trump Foundation says it agreed to dissolve itself and donate remaining funds shortly after the election, and that was delayed by what it calls a politically motivated lawsuit. Wall Street rallied, the Dow up 184 points at the closing bell, even higher during the session, but a record close. America is listening to Fox News.
Did you know that home loan rates have plunged again? Would you like to take advantage of these lower rates to help lower your monthly payments? Refinancing doesn't have to be for another 30 years. It can be for 10, 15, or 20 years. It's up to you. Reduce your monthly payments. Pay off your loan earlier. At Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender. Credit conditions apply.
Half a day. Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Jade Uggan of Umatic, and this is where I start my day. Listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanonmo. Protect your land. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
An emotional announcement from Chicago's top cop.
I've been blessed to have this opportunity. I'm thankful for the people of Chicago for trusting me with their safety.
Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson retiring after 3 years at the helm and over 30 years on the force. Johnson says the job has taken a toll on his health and his family, but that the decision has nothing to do with the investigation of a recent incident when he was found asleep behind the wheel of his SUV at a stop sign. The maker of the popular Juul e-cigarettes takes another flavor off the market.
Juul Labs says it will no longer sell mint-flavored Juul Pods, the cartridges containing the inhalable nicotine vapors used in its brand of e-cigarettes. The decision comes in light of findings of a federal study of youth tobacco use. The company, already under fire for a number of vaping-related lung injuries and deaths, has already stopped selling candy-flavored products. Juul's CEO says for now they will only sell product with traditional tobacco or menthol flavors. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Meantime, the CDC and the FDA continue to investigate those hundreds of illnesses and several dozen deaths around the country. Just getting word of a lucky escape in Southern California, where a small plane crashed into a house and started a fire. Police in Upland say a father and child were at home at the time and escaped without injuries. There's been no confirmation yet of who was on the single-engine plane or how many when it went down late this morning, California time. Recapping the record rally on Wall Street, the Dow finishes at a new closing high, 27,674. Also a record close for the S&P. The NASDAQ right now just shy of a new record close, though it did hit a new high during the session. Mr. Brady, this is Fox News.
We understand what matters to you because at Docomo Pacific, we're a family too. With the Now Family program, mom, dad, and kids stay connected on the latest devices the whole family can enjoy. For just $155 a month, get 3 lines with 30 gigs of 4G LTE data each, and endless use of your favorite apps without affecting your monthly data bucket. Add more, get more, save more. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Oh, Oh, what's for breakfast at KFC under $3.95, you ask? What's for breakfast at KFC that's different than the other guys, you ask? KFC's chicken wrap, sausage wrap, the Colonel's chicken congee, chicken fried steak, sausage biscuit and gravy, and biscuit sandwiches made with KFC's original fluffy biscuits. All for under $3.95 and all only at KFC. Plus, with waffles and the Colonel's chicken fried rice, we've got something for everyone.
So visit KFC for breakfast today. It's finger-licking good.
We can't buy this house.
What?
It has 4 bathrooms. Just think of all the bathtub rings, water spots, and stains, plus the cleaning products I'll have to buy.
Didn't I tell you? The house comes with a non-electric Connecticut water treatment system. We'll have clean, soft water throughout the house, protect the water-using appliances, keep the tub, showers, and sinks looking like new, and help our skin, hair, and clothes look and feel great, too. The house even includes a Connecticut drinking water system.
A Connecticut system in the house? We'll take it.
American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water.
7 o'clock news from the Guam Daily Post is being brought to you by Proline Automotive, customizing Guam's finest rides, located in the Harmon Industrial Park.
And good morning, Guam. It's 7:06. Here are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Guam may have just been granted its request for extension in the appeal in the island's plebiscite law. Attorney Mike Phillips had asked the Supreme Court for an extension in order to build his case to appeal a lower court's ruling in the plebiscite vote. This morning, the Supreme Court website says that Guam's application 19A-500 has been granted by Justice Elena Kagan, extending the time to file until December 26, 2019. Attorney Mike Phillips filed a request for an extension to file an appeal. However, he did so outside of the 10-day window to make such a filing. With the extension, though, the Guam will be able to take to the High Court its challenge of the District Court and Ninth Circuit ruling that the local plebiscite law seeking Guam's self-determination is unconstitutional. The FBI isn't giving too many details in an apparent investigation into criminal activity in Saipan. They executed multiple search warrants on Saipan, including at the office of the CNMI Governor, Ralph Torres, and the Imperial Pacific International, Saipan's casino operator. Mariana's Consultancy was also issued a search warrant, and Legend Realty. FBI Honolulu Special Agent Jason White confirmed the FBI conducted several search warrants around the island, but would not confirm whether the raids included the CNMI Governor's office. As reported in the Daily Post, around 9 o'clock yesterday, FBI agents pulled into the governor's office on Capitol Hill and cordoned off the second floor. Agents were seen going through desktop computers and hard copy files, and the staff's cell phones were all taken away. The governor issued a statement saying that he and his staff are providing the fullest measure of cooperation with law enforcement authorities. Power should be back on within the hour in those areas that were knocked offline this morning. Well, Power Authority spokesman Art Perez says the outage affected customers in Agana Springs, all the way up to Sinahanya and Maimai. He says problems with the Hagutnya substation tripped off the baseload generator. Most of the areas that have been restored, those who are not yet restored, should get their power back on shortly. We'll have more news after this.
Proline Automotive has everything to customize your whip. From custom wheels to Nankang tires or just hubcaps, they have it. Feel better that it's protected with a dash cover, car cover, seat covers, or floor mats. Visit Proline Automotive, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
GRMC's Neuroscience and Neurology Department treats a wide spectrum of disorders associated with the nervous system, spine, and brain. Some of the more common disorders include seizures, epilepsy, dementia, sleep disorders, migraine, and stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC's neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and the finest neurological doctors. To make an appointment, contact GRMC Specialty Clinics at 645-5500.
A former San Vicente Catholic school student filed a lawsuit in the Superior Court alleging she was sexually molested and abused by the school's maintenance worker in the early 80s. TVJ, who used the pseudonym to maintain her privacy and anonymity, filed a lawsuit against the School Sisters of Notre Dame, Milwaukee Province, School Sisters of Notre Dame, Central Pacific Province, and San Vicente Catholic School. The lawsuit names the alleged abuser as Pete Balangi, a maintenance worker who was employed by San Vicente, but he is now deceased. According to court documents, TVJ was 9 years old when she was allegedly sexually molested and abused in the back of the school's auditorium, where she had been sweeping during recess. The lawsuit filed by attorney Anthony Perez on behalf of the woman seeks damages to be proven at trial and equitable relief that includes the posting of names of all sex abusers known to the defendants, the establishment of a toll-free number and website for anonymous abuse complaints to be made, and letters of apology to the plaintiff. Although the deadline has passed for lawsuits to be filed against the Archdiocese of Agana due to the ongoing church bankruptcy proceedings, plaintiffs are still able to sue other entities related to child sex abuse. A 35-year-old man pleaded no contest yesterday in his charges related to the rape of an 8-year-old boy. Bruce James Ikfaji EA pleaded guilty to second-degree criminal sexual conduct as a first-degree felony. EA was sentenced to 3 years of parole and ordered to register as a level 1 sex offender. He will start his prison term on November 29th. And the smuggling of drugs and other contraband into the Department of Corrections was happening long before a major scheme was unraveled by authorities in 2017, according to former DOC officer Shane Cruz. Cruz was spared from having to go to prison, but will have to serve 3 years of probation. The judge yesterday suspended his prison sentence and gave him credit for time served. He's also ordered to pay a $1,000 fine. Cruz, who had no prior criminal history, pleaded guilty to 3 counts of criminal facilitation of delivery of a controlled to controlled substance and 3 counts of official misconduct as a misdemeanor. About a dozen other defendants that include former DOC officers and inmates have since taken plea deals after being charged separately. And those are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Here now is your weather with Ray.
It's going to be rainy, mostly cloudy today with scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms through Saturday night. I've got isolated showers on Sunday as well. Light and variable winds becoming mostly southerly, 10 to 15 miles an hour through the weekend. Daytime highs near 87 degrees, overnight lows 79 degrees. For sunset tonight, we're going to have one, but I don't know what it's going to look like. A little lackluster performance last night. We'll see what happens tonight. About 5:51 for you sunset hunters. Bring your cameras because you might need them, but bring a cooler because, just in case it's a total blowout.
Yeah, I peeked my head out of the window at about 5:40, and you could see a little color in the sky, but there were just a lot of clouds. So I'm not sure how the final presentation was.
Yeah,
but,
I was looking off in the other direction. I missed it. I was on the road around sunset last night. I was looking off to the east side, and it was looking pretty good. But the western side, like I said, same thing. It was already dark and it was already getting cloudy. So I don't know that we had anything, and I don't see any. Nobody's posted any dramatic glowing pictures of Guam sunset last night on Facebook. So I'm assuming that it was kind of a blowout. We'll hope for better. Should I hold out any expectations of grill marks this weekend?
Maybe Sunday.
Maybe Sunday.
But probably, based on the forecast, what we're seeing, definitely not today and probably not tomorrow.
All right. Now, for clarity, when I said weekend, I meant today starting at 10, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. Programming note, now that everybody's in the room, nobody's coming to work here on Monday. I'm taking the morning off. You're taking the morning off. Batman, don't come to work on Monday. Take the day off.
Monday looks good.
Okay, good. Don't tell Mana. Don't tell me. Mana's not here. She's left the room. Don't tell her, and then see if she shows up on Monday. Just cause. All right. So that's what we got for you. News and weather together here on The Point.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Kelaguen Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
Got a good morning wish from James Vega out in California. Says good morning, mostly partly cloudy from the old weather lady. Yeah, I remember that gag. Phil Schragi from the Micronesia Mall Zone. Like, Phil, what do you guys got going on over at the mall here? Because it's already, what is it, the first weekend of November. Here we are, it's the 7th and 8th already. Second weekend of November, and we're making our way into the holiday season. What have you guys got planned up at the mall? Is there going to be snow, and is there going to be the traditional holiday light display set to music and those shows? Let me know about that on the Facebook Live. We'll tell everybody on the radio about that as well. Portions of the program being brought to you by American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water. Guys over at Guam Regional Medical City, first stop in all of your specialty care needs, and any more with the divert status might be the first place place that you're going to go if the ambulance comes and picks you up. They're diverting from Guam Memorial Hospital to other locations now, including GRMC, and I'm told even the guys up at Navy are opening the gates for some civilian emergency access. It's getting dicey around here, kids. Don't get sick if you can absolutely help it. And it's brought to you by American President Line's global presence with a local home.
Real Talk Radio is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Getting a couple of things set up for the next segment of the program here. Jerry Roberts got the extra point coming in just a second. Montesilva Tyrant has got more headlines on the way and a couple of things that might be of interest for you. If you're looking for a job fair with Census 2020, again, tomorrow is going to be taking place at, I believe, the Agana Shopping Center from, I've got the numbers in front of me somewhere. But yeah, from 10 o'clock until 3 o'clock tomorrow, if you are looking for one of those gigs with Census 2020, 10 in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon at Agana Shopping Center. There's also looking for independent, capable, and notable, the ICANN resources. And Mana knows all about this. They're going to be having an open house and job fair at ICANN coming up next Friday, the 15th. God, just looking at the calendar for next week, it's going to be a busy weekend when it gets to be the 15th. So a short week to begin with. We've got the job fair going on the 15th. I think there's another one of these Census 2020 job fairs that's going to be taking place at the same time. Mm-hmm. And then we've got Akimatsuri the next day, the Japan Autumn Festival, which is among my favorite things in the world to attend.
That's the 16th, right?
The 40th or something stupid like that. I mean, it seems to me they've been doing it for a long, long time.
No, the date. What date was it?
Oh, the date. Oh, this, I thought you were saying 16th anniversary. Yes, it will be the 16th of November. But anyway, so the job fair is going to take place on the 15th. They're looking for foods in the food service industries, cook twos, mess attendants, and custodial services, janitor, team leader, supervisor, and assistant operations manager. I don't want to empty any trash cans, so I'll just go for the assistant operations manager. I just take the.
Why do you want the assistant's position?
Well, because they're apparently not advertising for the boss position, so I'll go ahead and take the assistant position. I'm presuming that would be among the higher rates that they'd be paying people in the janitorial services.
Because you can probably figure a way to edge the boss out of it.
Well, I also just knock him off. just bump him off. But just always assume that this is an all-you-can-eat job.
Okay.
And 718. This is the old joke. Is it too late for the trash? No, lady, jump in. You got to tell. You remember that? That's one of my favorite old jokes. All right, the trash guys sell that all the time. On the 14th, updating your SBA profile and navigating the dynamic small business search. Your small business administration profile is a great marketing tool. The Guam PTAC will show you how to set up and update your profile. DSBS is SBA's database of small businesses. We'll show you how to use it to help your company succeed in government contracting. That's one of those free workshops that they do over at the PTAC. This one will take place on the 14th for those of you that are putting your calendar together for businessy kind of stuff.
Okay, there you go.
And at some point, I got to take a look at the chamber information to find out when the election is going to be. There's a Chamber of Commerce conducts their elections around this time of year, and I can tell we're getting close because all these people, all these candidates are coming out of the woodwork. All of a sudden, I'm everybody's friend because I am a vote in the Chamber of Commerce. So that's they send me some. Hey, remember when we did this? You remember when we did that? You remember when I did this? Yeah. Okay, I'll consider maybe sending one of my few votes off in your direction. So, speaking of voting, guess who I run into last night?
Who did you run into last
night?
Mike
Limtiaco, former Senator Mike Limtiaco.
Really?
Yeah, who heard us talking on the radio the other day, and suggestions that you had made based on the conversation that you had with him.
Yeah,
which was that if I ran, he would run too. Yeah. He said that was a fabrication on your part.
Fabrication on my part.
I said, and his wife backed him up on that. He said, that doesn't sound like the kind of thing that Mike would say because he didn't ask me first. So yeah, it's
sorry.
not like he can make the decision on his own. He's got to ask the missus about it as well,
Which is a wise thing to do.
Yes, and apparently that conversation has not happened yet. But
apparently, I misunderstood and misinterpreted what he had said. Because I wouldn't fabricate something like that. I mean, not that the people on radio used to do those kinds of things.
There's a lot going on. I mean, he was paying for stuff at the checkout. You were paying for stuff at the checkout.
I got this live to lead thing going on. My mind was kind of obscure.
But it was an interesting proposal, though, that if I were to run seriously and really make the pitch for a win here, then maybe he would run again for an opportunity at the legislature, and that would help even the odds between Republicans and conservative thinkers.
Because
if I run, then everybody's going to run.
If you run, it's a guaranteed win. Whatever. If Mike runs, it's a guaranteed win.
All right, so
now you're 8-7. All you need now is one more, and you become the majority.
It's possible, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I was telling one of the story. I went to an art and wine thing last night, and there was a painting that I really, really wanted, and so I did all of the silent auction dirty tricks that I could. I hid the silent auction sheet. I took all of the pens off the table, so even if somebody was to come up and try to outbid me, there was nothing to write with. Yeah.
And the results of this work?
Well, I'm thinking. Well, I won the painting, but I think that subterfuge might torpedo my chances at winning. I think the Democrats would use that against me. Would you want somebody in the legislature that would hide the auction sheet, that would steal the pens? Incidentally, some great pens from Triple J last night. Thanks very much, Christine. I really, really appreciate this. I will have pens now for the rest of the year. This is great.
On the other hand, somebody who will publicly admit to their criminal activity is somebody you might want to think about voting in.
Absolutely. Vote for me. It's all true. 7:22 in the morning. Let's take a look at what happened on the markets and see if I can make sense of any of it. I know they talked about it on the Fox News, but honestly, I wasn't paying any attention. I was opening up some beetle nut. 27,674 for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Look at that number, 27,674. You know why? Trump. That's why. This picks up 182 points for the Dow. NASDAQ up by 23 points, 8,434, and the S&P 500 closing at 3,000 and yes, what? Okay, 3,085. They're up by about 8.5 points. FTSE in the green by 7,406. I got the Nikkei at 23,330. Hang Seng Index at 27,847. All of the markets are green today. This is a beautiful day for the planet. Shanghai at 2978, up by a little less than a percentage, and the DAX at 13,289, 109 points north for these guys. But clearly the big winners, Hang Seng up by 158 points, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average at 27,674. I'm going to right-click on that because I got a feeling that might be a record for the Dow. Yes, Mr. Roberts.
You think he was kidding when he said that he was opening up beetle nut?
Yeah, I'm totally serious. This, yeah. So you get the camera thing. You can see it on Facebook Live. No, that's the obsession. There's a guy, and I don't know who it is. I like his handwriting though, because he always leaves a little note with my name on it in a bag that he ties to the front door of the radio station on a fairly regular basis. And his timing is always impeccable. I'm down to what my drug buddies called the shakes, and then all of a sudden the bag shows up and it's a beautiful Ugam red. And for those of you that are watching the program that understand what this means, the only thing that's missing from this is a little bit. You can almost make out a little bit of the red juice on the inside.
Our friend Mark Pangilinan over at GPA.
God, it could be.
Because he used to
nice.
be your supplier at one point.
Yeah. Anybody with an Ugam tree, and the preference is when you bite into the Ugam, it squirts a little bit of the red sauce out.
Makes your ears hot.
Makes the ears hot. Makes the back of your neck hot. Anyway, so yeah, that's where we are. A couple of other commodities. We'll look at 56.54 for a barrel of West Texas crude. Yesterday, up 35 cents to 56.91 today. We look at Tapas to see what's going to happen with the price of gasoline. 68.25 yesterday. It's 68.53 cents. So they're up by 28 cents from where it was yesterday. If they haven't increased the prices yet, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw something like that. So before it gets to be the Veterans Day weekend, suggestions are that you go out there and honor the veteran in your life by asking them to go to buy you gas over at the Autoport here on Guam, where you can save substantial amounts of money. Go ahead, take advantage of a bet.
$2.65 a gallon.
$2.65 a gallon at the Autoport.
Yeah, yesterday.
Ooh.
Well, you could have joined the service.
Having not had the privilege of service, I defer to the people that
Or you could have
have
married a service member.
I could have.
You still can.
I still can, I guess. I say
all young women on the island, beware. There's a threat coming your way.
Or young. You just want the gas.
7:25 now. Jerry Roberts, fresh from the Live to Lead seminar.
Why are you so red, bro?
Because the beetle nut makes me red. It's the beetle nut make my face red when I chew on that.
So the last thing I am is fresh right now. Let me tell you, man. I'm exhausted.
Packed house.
Yeah, about 300 people came.
Very, very nice. And hours and hours worth of encouraging and inspirational talk.
I read the reviews through my bleary eyes, and everybody pretty much enjoyed themselves. They came away with things. They made lots of notes, and the prayer is that this morning they'll start using them.
Yep. Don't wait until after Veterans Day to get it done.
No.
You're fresh. You got the energy, and so get in there and take some of those lessons. Need another lesson? Well, it's time for today's Extra Point with Jerry Roberts, brought to you by Guan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
It was a tremendous full day of learning and sharing at the Live to Lead Guam Conference. Today, a few of the early takeaways you may find interesting. It's about culture. Next on the Extra Point.
When's the last time you looked at your homeowner's insurance?
An easily overlooked part of covering our home is what's inside of it. Over time, we buy things we don't want to lose, but don't update our contents coverage. The smart thing to do is get the answers and level up our insurance to make sure we're totally protected.
That's the Insurance Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today by calling Guahan Insurance Services at 475-1162 or visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center in Tamuning.
In his segment to kick off Live to Lead, John Maxwell discussed the importance of putting in place a leadership culture. We've promoted this idea for 2 years in this space. What we want to do is create a safe place where people feel free from the worry of failure and where leaders are routinely, and hear this, systematically developed. Systematically developed. That means your organizational culture, your operating system is built to support emerging leadership. It goes much deeper than sending people to an event that talks about leadership. Let's be straight. As good as Live to Lead is, the truly important work is done starting today for those people who attended. Now they come back into an environment that either is set up to promote leadership and propel people forward, or it's not. This is a critical piece to success in the leadership journey. The ultimate goal is to create a surplus of leaders who are ready for the opportunities that become your way in 2020 and beyond. Most organizations don't have a surplus of leaders and therefore may not be able to capitalize on those opportunities. The first step is to identify potential leaders. Can you see them among the people in your place? If you've got a small team, that might be a simpler task. But what if you have a big team, 50, 100, 200, 500 workers or more? Then it's not so easy. If you don't have a plan to systematically identify leadership talent, you'll miss people who are ready and hungry to move up. Maxwell said, the greatest ability of a leader is to recognize ability. This coincides with his long-held position that the number one job of any leader is to create more leaders. This then goes hand in hand with what I've said for many years. Every one of us is just keeping the spot warm for some person who will eventually take our place. Some people fear developing others on their team because they worry, hey, if I build this person up, the company may decide to boot me out and hand my job over to the person I'm working with. Let me give you the other side of this conversation. What if you want to move up to another position and the only thing holding you back is the lack of a qualified replacement? I've seen that much more often than the other scenario. To recognize ability, I have to get out among people and talk with them, finding out more about them. What do they want? Are they hungering for more? What abilities are there that I can leverage to get them moving forward? I also need to know what I'm looking for. Have I thought this through and truly know what I'm after? In Maxwell's words, when you know what you want and who you're looking for, you increase the odds of finding both. Through my sleep-deprived eyes, I read most of the evaluations handed in by the Live to Lead attendees. We know how they felt and what they want. We're already laying plans for the 2020 Live to Lead to deliver on just that. That's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
Nice. I'm glad that you had the event. Glad it was a success, and looking forward to hearing about the plans for the next one.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the efforts of Choice Broadcasting.
All we did was make commercials.
That's what you did.
That's all we did.
Maybe you personally were an advocate for this, and I do appreciate that, and I've got a little token of appreciation that I wanted to give to you yesterday, but you weren't there.
No, I just you
were napping yesterday.
Yesterday turned into that day, and so I'm looking. I was shuffling priorities, and it's not to say that yours was on the bottom. It's just that there was another one at the top that I had to take care of.
I got it.
So,
but I appreciate everything you did here.
Well, we're partners, and all of that stuff in the morning show. And before it gets to the Mutual Appreciation Society, I'm looking forward to hearing a lot of great feedback about yesterday's event, and then helping you plan out the next one.
Thank you very
much.
It's
7:31 in the morning, and that's Jerry Roberts with the Extra Point, again brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and the folks over at First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes. Right now, it's time to jump into headlines. Brought to you by Auntie Loli. That's Auntie Lolita Kemet. You can find her over at Diamond Realty, Remax Diamond Realty, for all of your real estate needs. Call her at 688-6743. Again, 688-6743. Now with news from the Guam Daily Post, here's Mana Silva Tyron.
Guam's been granted its request for extension in the appeal in the island's plebiscite law. Attorney Mike Phillips had asked the Supreme Court for an extension in order to build his case to appeal a lower court's ruling on the plebiscite vote. This morning, the Supreme Court website indicates Guam's application has been granted, extending the time to file until December 26. A number of offices, including the office of the CNMI governor, have been raided, but the FBI isn't giving too many details into what they're looking for. They executed the multiple search warrants at the offices of the governor, Ralph Torres, and Imperial Pacific International, Mariana's Consultancy Services, and Legend Realty, and among other locations around the island. Governor Torres says they will cooperate fully. A public hearing will be held this morning at the legislature on a couple of bills that deal with the Department of Corrections. Bill 182 creates an inmate commissary at DOC, and Bill 183 would give support for the manpower shortage at DOC by creating a civilian correction reserve program. The hearing starts at 9 o'clock in the public hearing room. Those are some of your headlines from the Guam Daily Post. For more on these stories, pick up a copy or log on to their website at postguam.com.
Thanks, Mana. Hey, if you want to save some money between now and the Christmas holidays and the New Year's holidays, call 888-8888 and ask the folks over at iConnect about some great plans that they might have to do exactly that. Things like internet, mobile plans, and more. Push-to-talk. They're still doing the push-to-talk thing because it's great for businesses. You ought to try it out. Ask for a demo. 7:33, and that's iConnect time.
Lolita Kamet from Remax Diamond Realty, a friendly, hardworking, and passionate Remax professional who is committed to helping you make a difference in your life and helping you achieve the American dream of home ownership. She also specializes in commercial leasing, land sales, local residential sales leasing, military, and corporate relocation. So for all your real estate needs, call Lolita Kamet from Remax Diamond Realty at 688-6743. That's 688-6743.
Well, I was looking at the traffic gizmo, and then I got distracted by something else here. There's a story from the Pacific Daily News that the Attorney General's office is going to get the gambling machine suit back on track. This thing goes back years to when Lenny Rapadas was the Attorney General and wanted to sue the Department of Revenue and Taxation, and this played out in court in a variety of scenes. And it looks like we could be talking about gambling in the courts at the Superior Court of Guam. On December the 5th, at Superior Court. Get you some more details on that, but I hear the traffic gizmo music playing off in the background, so let me get to some of that, let you know what traffic is going to be like at 7:34 on a rather wet kind of Friday morning. As you might imagine, traffic getting out of Dededo, the higher parts of Dededo, higher into like Waiseng Song, etc. That's moving really slow. Looks like it starts slowing down actually over at the fire station. I could be wrong. And then we've got the usual headaches on Route 3 getting onto Marine Corps Drive. Once you get on Marine Corps Drive, smooth sailing? Nope. It's going to be busy right up until you get to around St. John's. And then it will open up a little bit more. Intersection traffic all over the place, 8, 10, and 16. Oddly, looking pretty good right now. It's, actually, the slowest part of it is traffic headed on Route 8 towards Happy Mark. Imagine that. The intersection at 10 and 15 running a little bit slow this morning. You'll see some slowing down over by the Payless GCC UOG area. Also, Route 4 and 15 over by the intersection that takes you into Apicento Gardens. You can expect some delays through there as well. Route 4 with the construction starting to get busy down there, and we're seeing some traffic up around Guam High and Navy Hospital right now. Scooching down, Polaris Point, got some delays down there, and also looking at the usual mess in front of Big Navy and Sumai. 7:35, that's right now traffic on the point.
Go green, go hybrid. Go to Nanbo Insurance, and your next power bill is on us. Insure your hybrid car at Nanbo and get up to $350 towards your next power bill. That's instant savings for keeping our island clean and green. Nanbo has been providing Guam with over 50 years of reliable and affordable auto insurance. At Nanbo, it pays to go green. Terms and conditions apply. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for details.
Let me just cruise through this Friday. It's no frowning face Friday. That's the rule here on the Ray Gibson Show. There's no frowning face, even though there's news that would, on any other day, cause you to want to run out and find a piece of 2x4 of wood and bite all the way through it because it just kind of grates on you. We try to avoid that here on Fridays because it's a blessed weekend that's coming up ahead of us, and there's every single one of us that has got a veteran in the family, and find ways to pay tribute, to a little bit of honor, thanks for the sacrifice, and thanks for the protection, the freedom. And I say that more than one of us has got somebody in the family like that. I know I do. I'm my brother-in-law, currently active in the Guard. And then there's veterans that have served in my family, and it makes it, you might want to know, so what's the big deal? Somebody gets to shop on base, do all of that stuff. But for me, it's more important than that. I get to go on the radio every day, every weekday that I want to come to work and say whatever I want to about whoever I want to. I don't have to. I'm not obligated to agree with what happens at Adelup or the legislature. And if I see something that I think runs counter to what I consider to be common sense or logic, I'm going to say so. And I'm protected by the First Amendment. And if that doesn't work, then I'm also protected by the Second Amendment. The First Amendment's there in the first place to hold up all of the other ones. That's what my old man always taught me. And that freedom of the expression is protected by men and women in uniform. So while I'm thinking about it, while I have the opportunity, I want to say thank you very much for giving me the power to be able to do whatever it is that I do. And in return, if there's anything that I can ever do for the veteran community, I intend to be, as soon as the opportunity is in front of me, I intend to be one of the big cheerleaders for a plan that is being talked about in Washington, D.C. That may make it so that basically Navy Hospital becomes the new CBOC, and someplace where all veterans can go to get some kind of relief and service and care that you might not normally be able to, or might be more difficult to do with your current conditions and surrounding. Really, really want to work hard on that for the veteran community.
On a related note, Sunday will be the Marine Corps' birthday.
Happy birthday, USMC. My great-grandfather, James Allen Underwood the First, was a Marine. We got Bob Klitsky does the program here in the afternoon. He's coming back after Thanksgiving, or around Thanksgiving. He, of course, is a Marine, and I want to say that and I've told you this before, I consider him to be one of the smartest men that I ever knew, and a real joy, honest to God, a real joy to work with for 13 years in the early days of my career. I worked for a Marine Colonel Lee Holmes, and we did things the Marine way at Guam Cable TV, and I like to think I'm better for it. 20 away from 8 o'clock in the morning. You got the telephone number. Don't be shy about using it, 888-8255. And then we get to talk about some other things. While I got, here's a guy, veterans. He's worn the uniform for the country, Senator Jimmy Moylan.
Hey, good morning, Ray.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. I enjoy my time, and I'm glad to have had that opportunity to serve and continue to serve as a senator now.
Yeah. Now, you and I have never really talked about it. Which branch were you in, and what was the most fun?
I was in the Army. Most fun is when I survived jumping out of the airplane. It was a beautiful moment, but when I landed and I shook my arms and my legs, oh, this is good. That was the most fun, that experience. But we were well trained before we jumped out of the airplane. But that was the most fun.
Sounds delightful.
Yeah.
Actually, jumping out of perfectly good airplanes. That's one thing. But that's one of the ways that the Army gets things done around here. What was your actual what was your remit in the Army? What did they make you do?
I was a quartermaster, but I got assigned to headquarters. So during that time, there's a lot of reorganization going on in the Army, and I was helping support changing a service support company to a combat infantry, and that unit will be the Guam Army National Guard.
Wow.
Where it's at now. So that was a great experience, too.
I got you. Well, anyway, 20 away from 8 o'clock in the morning, there seems to be, as usual, a little bit of a fight going on, and I'm glad that you got the background in service to be able to weather this. There is the Pacific Islands Development Bank, and this is something I recall riffing on years ago. I was looking over the budget, and as usual, it was in one of those budget years for the government of Guam where it sure looked like we could use all of the money that we had around here for work around here, up to the police department, Guam Memorial Hospital, Department of Education, all of that stuff. And here we are again in 2019 and looking at the budget for 2020, and there's another $1 million payment that Guam is going to be making to the Pacific Islands Development Bank.
Right, and we haven't done that in quite some time. Several years, Guam has not participated with the Pacific Islands Development Bank. But now, in this budget, it is in there. It's $1 million annually. And the governor, my understanding, when her reply to my letter asking instead of investing that $1 million annually into this bank, that it come back to the people of Guam. And as you know, we've been taking it to the street, like the Army does. We fight the battle up front, and we take it to the villages, and we talk about with them. And just this last one we had in Jigo was a public safety forum, and we discussed the bills I've introduced, and the comments from the public is, hey, we need more police officers. We need the soldiers on the street. We need to combat this drug problem. We need to combat this speeding in our neighborhood, these curfew problems, a whole bunch of stuff, right? And that's their focus. And GPD was there as well, and they said, this your bill, Senator Moylan, that's pretty helpful, but you know what? We need 40 new officers. And I did identify funding for the initial pilot program of what we're calling the Municipal Police Force. And Guam Police Department recognizes that this would help by having a police force presence in the villages. It's not enough money to have it in all villages, but it's a start. And so I was looking at different ways to get monies for this to assist GPD, because they need officers for a whole bunch of other stuff as well. And so one of that is, instead of funding the Pacific Islands Development Bank, is to fund the police force. There's $1 million annually. I'm sure they can use that. The governor's initial reply, and I appreciate that she replied quickly, feels that the Pacific Islands Development Bank investing in our outer islands, right, to help them with assistance on their side, and to help solve their problems by providing money to help develop their opportunities.
We're not the United Nations. What is that?
Oh, right.
We're not the United Nations. We're not the federal government of the United States that needs to create these close ties that are only held by dollars and cents and filling up somebody else's rice bowl. We don't have the money here.
Correct, and we should focus here and not to take anything away of trying to assist the outer islands, but we also have. I visited the outer islands just recently. I was there in Ponape, and I was looking at their colleges too. They have beautiful campuses, beautiful schools, but those colleges are there, and they can also can assist in acclimating those folks before coming to Guam. I know we have a great Department of Labor here on the islands too, and they can also assist in getting them jobs and so forth. So there's still
there's a whole office. We've got there's a whole office that sees to the needs of compact migrants that come to Guam, that will point them in the direction of work and school and all of the different benefits that they might be eligible for, simply by being residents here on Guam. And now we're gonna try to get them to take our money and spend it down there to do work that's already being done up here. It makes no sense.
Well, one of the things when I was over at GITA a couple years ago, they made a request for this same injection of cash into the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we said was this kind of falls in line with what GITA does and the services and grants and loans that we provide to our local businesses. So what we wanted to do instead was reprogram that money into our coffers so that we can provide those services to our local businesses that are struggling just the same and need that same capital to start up and expand.
Yeah. And there'll be more businesses here that can hire these compact migrants when they come here. And by the way, I thought they were supposed to already have jobs when they got here. I thought they were already supposed to be lined up for school when they got here, as opposed to
but not necessarily
just
for
live.
the FSM or for those citizens, but for ours, for our local companies and those that want to start up or expand here.
I think that more local businessmen might be inclined to take on the opportunity if they could be assured that they wouldn't get broken into and robbed and burglarized all the time. And we might be able to do that if we had more cops on the street.
Right.
I'm just saying, it all starts with what the government needs to do, what the government's primary concerns are. I had this conversation with my friend Lars about it yesterday, and I don't need any more government, and I don't think they need any more of our government money in the other islands around here. I think we need less government, but the things that we do want our government to do: educate our children, keep us safe. If the house starts burning, then the fire department can come by, and also how about we take care of the sick people over at Guam Memorial Hospital, the very old, the very young, all of that's, I think, all we need our government to do around here. So any of the other stuff, if you ask me, is just showing off. And we don't have the money to show. We don't have show-off money here.
Right, and I'm asking the governor to reconsider. It's nice if we want to be a philanthropist one time, but that's way down the road. Right now, if we look at the majority of folks that are incarcerated in our DOC here, it's local. It's not the migrants. We still outnumber, unfortunately, and we do. We need money to be focused not only on GPD but Department of Corrections, our hospital, our school at Simon Sanchez. When are we actually going to get this going? So I really appreciate it. The governor would reconsider, and so I appeal to her to do that. It almost reminds me of like when you're flying on the airplane and we all see the video of the air mask coming on down, and when you watch it. So who do you take care of first? You had to take care of yourself first, and then you can help the others. So that's what I'm asking the governor to do. Please reconsider that. We need the money to stay here on Guam.
One of the other things that I noticed was yesterday, in fact, Mana pointed it out, is you actually got a couple of public hearings yesterday. How did that happen? Is it because Regine's off island, right?
Yeah, Regine is off island, and actually it was in the committee, Senator Talahi, and my bills kind of went well with her bill that she was introducing too. So in that way, it was very helpful, and I'm working well with Senator Talahi, and I do appreciate that my bills got heard. So it's on a start.
It's a start. One of these days, we might even get one on the floor of the legislature, huh? Maybe we'll get it even out of committee and voted on by the main body of the legislature. I think that'll be exciting. You know what? I got Uncle Robert on the other line, and I think his position will probably be counter to yours and mine on the Pacific Islands Development Bank. So I think we'll start with that.
All right.
All right. You have a. Are you going to the circus this weekend?
No, session isn't until the following weekend. But I'll see what I can do and fit that in my schedule. Thank you.
See, I gave that to him. I gave it to him. I'll talk to you, Senator Jim Moylan. You have a fantastic Veterans Day weekend. 888-825-888-TALK. Uncle Robert's on the line, ladies and gentlemen. It's a chance to talk with my beloved Uncle Robert, now retired congressman, president of the University of Guam, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now that he's retired, nobody talks to him. And I don't want him to be of the feeling that nobody cares. So we reach out to him at least once a week for a couple of reasons. Number one, to keep him occupied, keep that brain working. But the other part is I don't always have a firm enough grip on some of the issues that are out there, and I always like to get a sense of maybe how I should feel about things from Uncle Robert. So good morning to you, Uncle Robert. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Ray.
Where did we find you? Are you actually in town?
I actually am in Guam, and, I brought back Auntie Narissa with me, and so now we're we're back in Guam together. Last week, I was.
Was that just let me ask you? Was that consensual? when you brought her back, or you drag her back by the hair? How did that happen?
Yeah, no, it seemed to be consensual. Although there was a time she wasn't really sure she wanted to sit next to me on the airplane.
It's the long, long flights that we've got here. Hey, so Jimmy and I were talking about the Pacific Islands Development Bank. I think even in the best of times around here, I don't know that we've got a lot of money to be throwing around. I understand the sentiments that the governor made about it, but I just think with all the problems that we've got at GMH and DOE and the police department and the Department of Corrections, I think that money could be better spent here. Convince me I'm wrong.
You're wrong. I don't have a lot to convince you with, but I don't know. I really don't know that much about it, other than to say that the Pacific Island Development Bank is actually a good way to help the surrounding free associated nations to economically develop. So it's a kind of like just being part of the region. And also, Pacific Island Development Bank does a lot of, I'm not sure that they do a lot of business here in Guam, but they conduct a lot of their business here in Guam. So other than that, I think it's just a kind of a good faith nature. I don't know what was the extent of the commitment that the governor made to PIDB.
I believe $1 million.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, I can think of other things to do with $1 million, and I'm sure Senator Moylan has a lot more. But I always find it curious when I hear a Republican senator outlining all the things we should be spending money on rather than arguing that we just should pay down the debt.
Well, you know what? The solution to that is always let it get up to a certain amount and then go take out a BOT on it, and that's the way we've managed to deal with it. We'll convert it the deficit into long-term debt, and just kick that can down the road to another generation of Underwoods.
That's right. Yeah.
and you know how we breed.
Not my problem.
Yep, that's right. We just the kids will take care of it as they're supposed to in this kind of culture. I wanted to give you an opportunity. I know that you're politically on different sides of most of the time, but a couple of great Chamorros that we've lost in the last couple of weeks here. Ken Perez, and I was so sad to hear the passing of my friend, another one of these great statistical thinkers and tacticians. Joe Mesa has passed away. I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, Joe Mesa was actually. Joe and Joaquin and Ken were both good friends and of mine and good contemporaries. But Joe was not only a political thinker on the wrong side. He was a very funny guy, very humorous, very and for the time period that he was at the Guam Election Commission, I believe when he was executive director, he did a great job, and he carried out his responsibilities, and that's a lesson that I think is sometimes a little bit lost. That people, even though they come from a partisan orientation, that when they have a particular position in the community of responsibility, they carry it out within the confines of the laws and an even-handed basis, and Joe exemplified that.
No, I'm glad his family's happy to hear that kind of short eulogy here on the radio, and I thanks very much for reminding me what a funny guy he was.
Yeah, he was very funny. We had a lot of, he was a clever guy, and but it was like when you say the term public servant. There are people who, even though no matter whether they're Democrat, Republican, or no matter how strongly they feel about issues, when they get a position of responsibility in the government, they carry that out and in an even-handed way, and that's a kind of a rarity, But there's fortunately there's still a lot of people around like that.
I was going to say, well, that was going to be the next question. As these political figures and public servants are passing us, as they pass, who is the torch being passed to? Are there some young political hotshots that you've got your eyes on that maybe aren't on anybody else's radar?
Yeah, there's only I talk to a lot of young people. and they have, obviously they have a kind of a different worldview and a different way of communicating, But, every time I say something, they just say, "Okay, boomer," and and then I'm dismissed, like that. But they really, I mean, it's generational, and when you think about it, Ray, the things that sometimes divide us, sometimes we're divided at point of origin or political. Sometimes a generational divide can be just as daunting. So as you reach across the generations, I'm comforted that the voices that I hear and the interactions that I've had at the university for over the past decade make me feel good. I mean, I'm not so concerned that they won't come out producing people that are ethical and committed to issues.
Well, I had the pleasure of being on the campus the other night, and number one, it's a good-looking campus. The new buildings are absolutely terrific, and it was nice to even go into some of the old buildings. I didn't even know that we had a pottery kiln in our university, and have for decades until I took a look at that program. And I got a chance to interact with some of the students, and I had a good time doing that as well. I wanted to, I know that Anthony Norris is actually online with on Facebook Live right now, so I wanted to ask you kind of a homegrown question. Are your Christmas decorations up? And in the mind of Robert Underwood, savvy boomer, when is the appropriate time to put your Christmas tree lights up and lights outside?
Well, we had that conversation the other day about where to put the Christmas tree. So we're still arguing about it.
Just that.
Still discussing it because it involves moving furniture, and I don't want to do that. And but I think the appropriate time is probably just before Thanksgiving. But
have the kids over and have them move the furniture, Uncle Robert.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I have a bad back.
Every year at Christmas time, I get a bad back. I know exactly what you mean. So the circus is in town. I don't know if you caught that. The circus is in town, and you and Auntie Narissa going to take any of the babies to go and watch that?
Well, we're thinking about it, and I'm glad to hear that kind of an event is here, and it's at the UOG Cabo Fieldhouse. I'm really glad to hear about that. Of course, it invites the jokes, just like Senator Moylan said. Mel Session is, the circus is in town. What? It's always been here.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with ragging on our elected officials every now and then.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But it got me thinking about, my recollection of things and events like that don't start until about the middle of the 1970s or so. But I was thinking about that when you were a kid, when you were a youngster growing up on Guam. Did they have things like that every once in a while, a big show that you could go to or somebody'd put on to bring out the whole community?
There were people here who were like rumored to be like carnival people, and they did some acts, and but nothing like this. Of course, you remember the famous Circus Bruno.
Yes.
You remember the Circus Bruno?
I do. I remember him. I remember the nightclub he opened in what was the old Agania Theater that turned into kind of a seedy place.
Yeah.
So I was there every night.
In Circus Bruno, they had this lion tamer, and the lion tamer were both about the same age, and, so there wasn't a lot of running around.
Hey,
but of course we don't do animal acts anymore in the circus. So
no, it's politically incorrect. 7:58 and change here. Just and enough time for your thoughts on this. It looked like the extension was rejected. Apparently, maybe it was just the electronic version of the extension. But Michael Phillips has got renewed faith this morning because the extension has been granted by the Supreme Court, and they will allow for an attempt at a writ of search between here and the 26th of December. What are your thoughts?
Well, the writ of search is still a stretch.
Yep.
So the people shouldn't think that automatically that means that the Supreme Court will take it up. There's a couple of other cases that are moving along on the status of unincorporated territory. And so I'm thinking that one of these cases will be picked up by the Supreme Court. Not really sure which one, but I have to say that I'm glad that this is happening, and I'm glad that a lot of attention is being given to it. But I just have my doubts that they'll pick it up.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, it could maybe a Christmas miracle.
A Christmas miracle. It'll be called a Guam Christmas story.
Yes, it'll be a beautiful thing. I got to go, Uncle Robert. Love you, mean it. Kiss to Anthony and the wrist. I'll see you later.
Okay, take care.
You know I will. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, the radio station, KUSG, Hagutnya. And what is somebody showing me on Facebook is Renaissance getting back together again. This might be worthy of an interruption, a break into our regular programming. Nah, we got to go ahead. We got the news on KUSG Hagutnya coming up in a second. Mona Silva Tyron with news from the Guam Daily Post on the other side of that. Mike and I and the guy from GSPN going to be pretending to talk about sports. That's ahead right here on The Point.
3 words President Trump wanted to hear. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That's one of the revelations in the latest transcript released by impeachment investigators. Fox's Jared Halpern is live on Capitol Hill.
A career State Department employee told House investigators President Trump wanted to hear 3 words from the Ukrainian president: investigations, Biden, and Clinton. George Kent gave that testimony in a closed-door deposition last month. The transcript was released by House Democrats before Kent testifies in a public setting next week. In his deposition, Kent spelled out the role President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, played in crafting Ukraine policy, and a smear campaign to oust former ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch. Kent says Republican senators asked about a hold on U.S. security assistance to Ukraine before that aid was ultimately released. Lisa.
Meantime, Jared, ahead of the open impeachment hearings set to begin next week, Republicans like South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham continue to challenge the process.
I think the whole process is out of line with what we've done in the past. It's a sham. It's been driven by political people. The best way to deal with the president is at the ballot box.
In the meantime, House Democrats putting Republicans on notice. There is a deadline before next week to submit their wish list of witnesses. A familiar scene in New Hampshire where crowds keep gathering as candidates file paperwork for the first-in-the-nation primary. In this case, Vice President Mike Pence doing the honors at the State House in Concord.
The President wanted me to convey to you his regards and to say to all of our supporters across New Hampshire, we are grateful for your support today. We have made America great again.
Urging voters to keep America great by re-electing President Trump. Several top Democrats have already filed for their primary in New Hampshire. The deadline to file is next Friday. America is listening to Fox News.
Hulu is all your TV in one place, plus more. Watch thousands of hit shows, movies, and award-winning Hulu originals for only $5.99 per month. It's TV without the cable contract and the freedom of on-demand streaming. Get current network shows from ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox, and binge watch every season of your favorite cable shows. Premium Hulu viewing is brought to you by Proline Automotive and AB Sports, Guam's store for Nike. To advertise on Hulu, call Choice Digital at 989-0042.
Konnichiwa! We'll be celebrating the 40th Japan Autumn Festival on Saturday, November 16th from 2 until 9 at the Governor Joseph Flores Beach Park. That's Ipao Beach Park. Parking will be available across Oka Payless with free shuttle service every 15 minutes starting at 1:30. Advance tickets available now at the Japan Club of Guam office located on the first floor of Pia Marine during business hours. The Japan Autumn Festival at Ipao Beach Park, November 16th from 2 to 9. Come join us. For information, call 646-8066. This message made possible by Choice Broadcasting.
The first funerals in Mexico after the massacre on Monday that left 9 Americans dead.
Families arrived in La Mora today to mourn the loss of 3 mothers and 6 children in Mexico. Several of those injured children released from hospitals yesterday to say their final goodbye to family and friends. Now, La Mora is about 70 miles south of the border, where kids hunt and fish in safety and families farm pecans and alfalfa. Monday, that changed thanks to a cartel hit and a government unable to stop them.
Fox's William Lajeunesse. The killings remain under investigation. One family member has said he thinks the women and children were used as bait in new fighting between rival cartels over smuggling routes in the mountains of northeastern Mexico. A New York judge is ordering President Trump to pay $2 million for misusing his now former charitable foundation.
I got a statement from the Trump Foundation spokesman saying, quote, the Trump Foundation is pleased to donate an additional $2 million. Following the 2016 presidential election, the Trump Foundation publicly announced its intention to voluntarily dissolve and distribute all of its remaining funds to charity. Unfortunately, that donation was delayed due to the Attorney General's politically motivated lawsuit.
Fox's John Roberts at the White House. Just how far would college grads go to ditch student debt? There's a study for that conducted on behalf of Splash Financial and asking 4,000 college students and graduates.
39% say they would spend a week in jail to erase the debt. 49% say they would walk to work for a month. 40% say they'd be willing to relive high school, never have caffeine again, or take no time off work for an entire year. And 51% are game to shave their head.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York says as many as 44 million or so Americans have student loan debt. Lisa Brady, this is Fox News.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
If you've ever struggled for breath, you know what a scary experience it is. Whether you have asthma, emphysema, COPD, lung cancer, or another respiratory illness, the right medical treatment makes all the difference. GRMC's Pulmonology Clinic has the latest technology and respiratory equipment, staffed by world-class pulmonologists. Make an appointment today with GRMC's Pulmonology Clinic and start breathing easier. GRMC, where patients are partners.
Proline Automotive has everything to customize your whip. From custom wheels to Nankang tires or just hubcaps, they have it. Feel better that it's protected with a dash cover, car cover, seat covers, or floor mats. Visit Proline Automotive, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
Lights, camera, fajitas! Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors, featuring the new all-star cast, the grilled stuffed avocado with southwestern shrimp topped with Santa Fe sauce, cilantro, limes, and queso fresco. Or the Monterey chicken, juicy chicken breast topped with barbecue sauce, mixed cheese, bacon, diced tomatoes, and chopped green onion, all served on a sizzling skillet with warm flour tortillas. Experience bold, sizzling fajita limited time flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here, located at the Tumon Sands Plaza, 2nd floor.
Day and good morning, Guam. Here are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. It appears there was a positive outcome in Guam's request for an extension in the U.S. Supreme Court, which gave us more time for the government of Guam to file an appeal in the Dave Davis case against the island's plebiscite law. Attorney Mike Phillips had asked the Supreme Court for an extension in order to build his case to appeal a lower court ruling on the plebiscite vote. The Supreme Court website this morning indicates Guam's application 19A500 has been granted by Justice Elena Kagan, extending the time to file until December 26. Attorney Mike Phillips says the extension will give allow Guam to take to the High Court its challenge of the District Court and Ninth Circuit ruling that the local plebiscite law seeking Guam's self-determination is unconstitutional. The FBI executed multiple search warrants on Saipan, including at the office of the CNMI Governor Ralph Torres and Imperial Pacific International, that's Saipan's casino operator. Agents were seen at the office of the governor, Mariana's Consultancy Services, LLC, Legend Realty, and other locations around the island as part of an ongoing criminal investigation. FBI Honolulu Special Agent Jason White confirmed the FBI conducted several search warrants around the island, but wouldn't confirm whether or not the raids included the governor's office. Several sources, however, did confirm with the Post that Governor Torres' home, vehicle, and office were among the places that were raided, as well as Legend Realty. FBI agents were also seen outside of the casino operators' administrative offices. Lieutenant Governor Arnold Palacios later confirmed in a press conference that the governor met with federal law enforcement officers when the search warrant was executed. Yesterday morning, the governor issued a statement saying he and his staff are providing the fullest measure of cooperation with law enforcement authorities. As reported in the Guam Daily Post around 9 o'clock in the morning yesterday, FBI agents pulled into the governor's office on Capitol Hill and cordoned off the second floor. Agents were seen going through desktop computers and looking through hard files, and also staff cell phones were taken away. Agents were also seen going through files at the office of Alfred Yu of Mariana's Consultancy Services, a consultant of Imperial Pacific International. Yu's office is located at the IPI-owned Vester Commercial Plaza, also on Capitol Hill. Yu was listed as IPI's casino lobbyist by the Commonwealth Election Commission, earning a fee of $5,000 a month. FBI agents were also seen meeting in the lobby of the Marianas Heights building, where IPI's offices had been raided earlier in the day. White says due to the ongoing investigation, he couldn't release any additional information about what agents were looking for, nor could he confirm whether anything was taken during the raids. Last night, IPI Holdings and IPI LLC issued a press release stating that the companies have nothing to hide and will cooperate with law enforcement authorities. Few details have been released this morning on an apparent stabbing yesterday afternoon in Tamuning. Guam Fire Department medics were called to Sergeant David Camacho Street in Tamuning on a report that a man had been stabbed. Fire spokesman Kevin Riley says the man had a puncture wound to his lower extremities and was transported to the Guam Memorial Hospital. The patient, he said, was conscious and responsive at the scene as well as en route to the hospital. Police, meanwhile, have not released any details. More news after this.
Did you know that home loan rates have plunged again? Would you like to take advantage of these lower rates to help lower your monthly payments? Refinancing doesn't have to be for another 30 years. It can be for 10, 15, or 20 years. It's up to you. Reduce your monthly payments. Pay off your loan earlier. At Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender. Credit conditions apply.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the all-new Pit Smoked Brisket. How would you like it?
I'll take a man who knows what's what.
Y'all know what? The all-new Pit Smoked Brisket at Subway is smoked slower than a slug going up a down escalator, that's what. I'm talking tender, juicy brisket, naturally pit smoked for at least 13 hours. What's more, it's got layer after layer of smoky flavor. Smoked cheddar and barbecue sauce on delicious Italian bread. Subway, make it what y'all want, what not. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
The 2018 indictment against two men and a woman accused in sexual assaults on two girls ages 16 and 18 has been dismissed without prejudice, which means that prosecution can refile the case. Superior Court of Guam Judge Vernon Perez dismissed the case against defendants Iwo Moses and Honoria Tommy and John Tommy after he granted the defendant's motion for reconsideration. Perez previously denied the motion to dismiss. The defense contends the three were deprived of their statutory rights by not being brought before the judge within 48 hours of their arrest. The defendants argued that they were rearrested following the grand jury indictment but had not been brought before a judge until 12 days after their arrest. The three were arrested in connection with a sexual assault on two teenage girls. A public hearing will be held this morning at the legislature on a couple of bills that deal with the Department of Corrections. The hearing by Senator Pilo Talahi's committee. On the agenda, the appointment of James Casalo to the Contractors Licensing Board, and Bill 182 that creates an inmate commissary, and Bill 183 that would give support for the manpower shortage by creating a civilian correction reserve program. The hearing starts at 9 o'clock in the public hearing room. And those are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post.
Gotcha. And let's take a look at some weather here. Thanks, Mon. I appreciate it. Mostly cloudy skies, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms through Saturday night. Isolated showers Sunday. Light and variable winds becoming mostly southerly at 10 to 15 miles an hour through the weekend. Daytime highs not very, very hot. About 87 degrees, and overnight lows should be about 79. Sunset Hunters will try again tonight at 5:51. That's when it will break the plane. Chances for green flash very, very slim right now, but you never know. And my rule is, don't turn your back on a Guam sunset. Looks like we're in between things on the radar. That's my thumbnail interpretation. Maybe Mike can agree.
Yeah, that's kind of what's going on right now, and we could see that earlier in the satellite photo. We've got the first blob moving off to the northwest and west, and then some more down to the southeast. We'll see how that holds together. The forecast is for that stuff to move on through the day today and tomorrow, which is why we continue to have scattered showers and a pretty good rainfall in the forecast. So switching over to the satellite real quick, we'll take a look at what we've got. Of course, the big blob right there there to our west moving out now, but the blob down to the south is supposed to come up through here. Again, I've talked about my doubts about whether that would actually make it through, but again, I defer to the experts and we'll see what they say. But the forecast is always changing from time to time here because things happen quickly here in the Western Pacific. For now, we can just expect some rain, and if the clouds stick around, although we've got some sunshine out there now, the temperatures may not even get up to the upper 80s today.
Hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
you know what that does for my air conditioner bill when we've got the overcast skies, cooler days like the kind that we're going to be having today. So there's nothing wrong with that. 8:14, that's news and weather together here on The Point.
Want to grow your business, start a new venture, or stay ahead of the competition? You can. With Docomo Pacific Smart Business Solutions tailored to your specific needs and ambitions, you can do it all. Partner with a network with best-in-class network coverage, state-of-the-art communication platforms, and a team dedicated to providing you with premium support. Call 688-2677 to start your journey to success today. Docomo Pacific Business, delivering your future today.
Portions of the Ray Gibson Show being brought to you by the American Medical Center. 3 locations to serve you: Upper Tumon, Magilao, and Okatamuning. And you know what? They all got like urgent care facilities in there. So don't get sick. If you do get sick, and if something's falling off your body, emergency room and that kind of thing. But if you just got a sore throat or you stubbed your toe or something minor, then reach out to American Medical Center. 647-8262 is their number. Portions of the program also brought to you by American President Lines. APL, a global presence and a local home. There's breakfast cooking up for you over at Wendy's, but they do great deals for lunch as well. You're going to love this. $5, you get 2 of your faves at Wendy's. So you get that $5 bill. That'll get you either a Dave's single and a spicy chicken, or 10-piece nuggets, right? So pick any 2 of those for just $5. Hands down, the best value on Guam. So stop by and get your 2 for $5 deal today. Take Care offers proven wellness and fitness programs to encourage you and your families to live a healthy, balanced lifestyle. Preventative care, being active, eating right, relaxing, unwinding, and being socially connected. Yeah, do that. Check that out today with my friends over at Take Care.
Getting you back to the talk faster. It's the Ray Gibson Show.
I see it, 8:16 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. That's the telephone number here at the radio station. And now about the time that we would, and I'm completely unprepared for it. I've just been distracted by my social media. But I'm sure there's an opportunity for us to take a look at what the big deal is going to be in sports for this weekend. Already, we know that there's going to be a football game today, right?
That's right, yeah, and I'll have Robbie on here in just a couple of moments. And, of course, that's the high school all-star football game being played at JFK. We'll let Robbie tell us a little bit more about that. In some other local sports, we had Guam powerlifter Vinny Taiting Fong medal 4 times in a mainland powerlifting event. 4 medals at the North Dakota Open. Took gold in the junior division for 165-pound lifters, gold for the deadlift for junior, and open and a bronze for his 3rd place finish overall. Total weight of 1,126 pounds consisted of a 232-pound bench press, 364-pound squat, and an impressive 530-pound deadlift.
Wow.
That's crazy. Those are crazy
That's
numbers.
half a VW car.
It pretty much is,
Yeah.
So good. Congratulations to him on a great performance there. And also from both these stories from KUAM, it looks like a sit-down between the Guam Department of Education and the IIAAG may be in the works.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's after IIAAG responded to a GDOE invitation asking the group if they'd like to join GDOE sports play in the 3rd and 4th quarter. And, of course, the head of the IIAAG, Terry, says, well, we're at least in there through the first half of the year, and I guess we'll see how it goes after that.
Yeah, I've got this weird, icky feeling about that because it feels like they did it wrong. It feels like you get a guy going, hey baby, I know we got a thing, but I kind of need my space, baby. So you know what? Maybe we should see other people. And then when he finally gets out there into the world, he realizes what a crappy dating scene it is. So now he's going back saying, hey baby, I was just thinking. You know, let's have baby. Let's get married. Let's have kids. Right? That's what's going on with DOE and IIAAG. DOE is said, you know, I think we ought to see other people, and IIAAG says, okay, whatever. And now DOE is going back saying, well, you know,
I'm gonna hang out.
yeah. What you doing later? You want to talk? Let's talk. So that's the way it's got this weird feeling around it. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. And there's a lot of people, and even now IIAAG. I think it's Terry DeBold now. I think he's doing the talking for them. I think now his whole thing is, yeah, it's really nice that you're coming back to me, but you guys have no plan. So are we going to the beach? Are we going to the movies? Is it going to be dinner? Are we going to someplace where I look up at the menu or down at the menu? You got to give me some plans. You got to tell me what I'm doing because IIAAG, right? They have their own things going on. They're independent.
And you know who gets dragged
they
into
got
all
used to
of
their
this?
own privacy and their own freedom. And now
It's the kids that get dragged into all of this nonsense, and they can't when the adults can't adult.
Right.
You know, and the poor kids just want to play. They just want to gain their skills on the field, and maybe even get their foot into the door in college. You know, they count on these opportunities for like scholarships. And
yeah,
such.
well, they absolutely do.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
there
you know
are a
what?
lot of kids
Adults,
from here.
stop messing around
And
get
just
your act together.
Let the kids go find. You know what? You want to help the kids? More fields. That's what we need. We need more fields, more courts, more facilities.
Yeah.
Concentrate on that. And if you've already got them, concentrate on fixing them. That will
Actually,
help.
I'd like to see a state-of-the-art football facility for all of the teams to share. It would make more sense than having a football field at all these other locations. You could centralize it to make it easier for everybody to get to. This is the kind of arrangement that happens in markets of this size when you have this many schools, and I would really like to see that sort of thing happen.
You know
of
what?
Course,
We
it takes
already got
money.
one. We already have one, and so the problem is it's Guam High. Have you seen the field at Guam High?
Yeah.
That is so nice. That whole
nice.
place there. I want to go. I want to run on that track. I want to play on that field. I want to do all of that stuff, but I can't because I forgot to join the Navy. I was gonna. I was
There's
driving
one
to the
over
place.
by Navy, the Navy gym down at Big Navy.
That's also a nice one.
Yeah,
the
very
King
nice.
Gym.
Nice track.
Yeah,
I'm not a track runner, but I like the track is very pretty.
Yeah, you can do that. Joanna Torres online says, Hafa de Ray and Mana from Monterey, California. Dennis Bensor asking, did you ever get your Tapatio Doritos? No. I went to the store yesterday. I went to the store next to my house yesterday, and they don't have Tapatio flavored Doritos. I asked them about it, and they just looked at me like I'm from another planet.
I'll get it
We're
for
just
you,
a
and I'll
Korean
get
mom
you-
and pop store.
I'll
We
get
don't
you
rate.
your Popeyes too.
Thanks very much. And
do a run for
so I had lunch yesterday with the guy from KFC. And he says, yeah, I heard you talking about that.
I heard you
Are
talking
they-
about Popeyes.
Are they sponsors? I said, no. He says, well, KFC is. I said, yeah, but see, you don't make Cajun. You don't make Cajun chicken. That's the difference here. There's a Cajun chicken that they make there.
No, but to your credit, we eat KFC frequently because it's so close to
Right
our
around the
houses.
house. But no, Dennis, I didn't get that. Senator Amanda Shelton is online waiting for us to talk about her. I got Kenny Williams, and Kenny, the bugs have been dying at almost an alarming rate at the house. Thank you very much. Renee Lau from next door, Valerie Bloss. Valerie's from the hotel down in Tuma where they got that new mescla and the coffee sled in there. Guam Plaza. Tony and Ed and Finko, and Karina Gutierrez Ludwig. Oh, Valerie, do me a favor, Valerie. Could you hit me up on a DM? I got a message. A friend of mine's coming in from the Philippines and wants to stay at one of those places that's fairly close to the airport. And I know that you guys in your network have a hotel up and down Ipao Road that's close to the airport. Won't cost him $50, but I can't remember which one it is. So do me a favor, hit me up on a DM and let me know which one that is, so I can pass it along to my Manila friend. 8:22 in the morning, and we got Robbie on the line from GSPN. Good morning, Robbie. How you doing?
Hi, good morning.
You're a busy guy, and I understand you're going to be hanging out with my boy Mike this weekend, huh?
Yeah, actually looking forward to it. I met Mike just earlier this week, yesterday, in fact. To talk about the game that we're going to be broadcasting. And we are going to be the two on the mics. He's going to be doing play-by-play. I'm going to be adding color for the All-Star football game on Saturday.
Now, kind of a big deal. A little bit more on the game. Where is it going to take place? What time does everything get started? And if I can't make it, how can I watch it on GSPN?
Okay, so we since I believe our first year, we've actually had two football games in one day. So we have the youth football game, the for the youth stars, the GNYFF, the Matua All Stars. They're I guess they're I would guess you would consider it their varsity league, their oldest division in the youth football division. They actually have an all-star game too. They're going to be played right before the high school all-stars. So the gates open at 3:00, and then the kickoff for the youth all-stars is at 4. And then right after their game at 6:30 is going to be the high school all-stars. So there's actually going to be 2 football games going on at the same time. I mean, on the same day. So, there's going to be a lot of football played for everyone to enjoy. It's kind of an all-evening event. So it's going to be, I'm sorry, I don't even know if I mentioned, it's at the JFK Field. It's going to be at the JFK Field Saturday. So, yeah, and if you're not able to attend, we do broadcast the high school football all-star game, which is going to be what Mike and I are going to be commentating on for Saturday evening. And you can catch that on GuamSportsNetwork.com. We broadcast it on our YouTube channel, but you can catch the full, I guess, presentation on our website. The links will be shared day of. So, if you do want to tune in and you can't make it to the game, you can tune into the broadcast and catch me and Mike on the in the booth and watch the full game. We'll be broadcasting the kickoff all the way to the end.
And for football fans here on the island, the Saturday would be a good day to go out and actually take in the whole day of football, because not only do we have the high school game taking place at 6:30, but you got the GNYFF game before that. So you're looking at what will likely be high school all-stars, 6 or 7 years down the road playing in the first game. And then you got the high schoolers playing in a second game, and a couple of good matchups in both games scheduled for the play.
Very, very nice. Now, James Howard's issuing a challenge here, wants to hear a demo of your play-by-play there, Mike.
I can't do play-by-play unless play-by-play's happening.
There's somebody...
That's why they call it play-by-play.
Yeah. So Mona Silva Tyron, and she's got the ball, and she's running towards the end zone, and there's like 20 guys chasing her. So try it out with that one.
Oh, she's running good, cutting right, cutting left. She did a backflip. Oh, she scores.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the best I can do right now.
Robbie,
without
give me some pretend color there.
Mona's actually been a 4-time veteran All-Stars. This is her 4th year, so we're expecting to see a lot of big plays from her today. So nothing new seeing her in the end zone.
There we go.
There is a football player, Mona Silva, from the University of Hawaii. He was eventually picked up. I think he's with the Cowboys now, right?
I think so. My coffee. You were talking to me?
No, I'm asking Robbie, because Robbie...
Dumb. Okay, now we normally do a football pick'ems thing around here, but I think in this case I just want to get your sense of today. We get week 10 of the National Football League begins, and I think the first game is starting out is the Chargers against Oakland. What do you think is going to be happening in that game? We got 4-5 for the Chargers and 4-4 for Oakland. You got a sense of who might win this game today?
Man, you hit me right in the sweet spot, because I'm actually I've been a Chargers fan for well over a decade, so I'm a hardcore Chargers fan. I if you know me, then you know that's my football team. So I'm a homer, man. I never pick them to lose any week, so I'm picking them to win by at least 4-point spread today.
Robbie, what do you think about the rumors of Chargers moving to London?
Well, I had a lot of people approach me, or not approach me, but I had a lot of people ask me about it, like, just shoot me a message on the side, like, are you serious, for real, what's going to happen? And I've been pretty hardcore with this team from the start. So, I've moved with them from San Diego to LA. I don't know, if it happens, it happens. I mean, I'm still going to be a Chargers fan if they're the NFL's first European team. So it's weird, but it's also, I don't have the sense of attachment as most people do with their football teams that are homers. They grow up in the city, they grow up in the state, so they're kind of bred into it.
Yeah, you and I are the same. So you just kind of pick a team and stay with them. So I was a Redskins fan because my dad was a Redskins fan. When he moved to Carolina, I became sort of a Panthers fan. But you know, I don't live and die on them. So, but it's something survivable. If the Panthers were to move to London, I suppose that'd be okay. Now the other big game, and there's a bunch of games obviously that are going to be played over the weekend as well when it gets to be Monday here. But the Tuesday game is also kind of an interesting bookend. We've got the Seattle Seahawks, also big tomorrow favorite, and the San Francisco 49ers, also big tomorrow favorite. And so that's going to be interesting. 49ers going into this 8-0. Thank you, Dave Torrey. And Seahawks also having a pretty good season, 7-2. What are your thoughts on that matchup?
Well, if my boss is listening, Patrick Lujan, I'm bound to say the Niners are going to win. So, yeah, you hit me in with two football teams that they were pre-selected for victories and predetermined victories in my head before you had even mentioned who they were challenging because of just who the teams are. But yeah, I do personally. I do think the Niners have been playing excellent this season. I don't think that they've been tested too far. I think Tuesday's game is going to be their a real test. I mean, whether how they play is to me is really going to determine whether or not these guys are for real a threat. I mean,
my prediction is going to be a tight game, maybe even overtime on this one here. I think they're going to establish dominance both in their offense and defense. And I think there's going to be a lot of back and forth. And I think it will come down to something like a field goal. You know, just one or two out in the back. And one of those games where if the clock kept running, they'd keep going back and forth. That's my prediction for the game. Almost out of time to talk about the sports here, but something that Mike touched on a little bit earlier, and I riffed on as well, is the love-hate, love-again thing between the Department of Education and the IIAAG. First, DOE says, we want to be on our own. We want to see other people. I need some time, baby. And IIAAG said, yeah, okay, that's cool. And I think, the DOE realizes now, wait a second, it's going to be tough for us to do this without the IIAAG. What do you think is going to happen here? Are they getting back? Are they getting back together? Will there be? Should we cue up Peaches and Herbs and that reunited song?
Well, we've been following this situation very closely since the beginning when they announced they were planning on leaving. And I mean, I'm just from all sides. It indicates that this split is going to happen at the very least for the next 2 years. I mean, this is going to be a project that GDOE has as something that they're dead set on running through, seeing through. They've committed, they hired a whole team to get this stuff done. So at the very least, I know they want to see this through. It isn't for the IIAAG, for them, they have a system in place, so they're going to be running. Terry DeBold made this very clear from the beginning when he took the office. He said they're going to be running they're going to be running operations as they normally do. It's up to GDOE if they want to be in the planning. But also, Terry had a meeting early. They had a meeting this week when GDOE they motioned IIAAG to make a decision on whether or not they are, because earlier also Fernandez sent out an email inviting or opening an invitation for IIAAG to maybe compete, possibly have interleague play, or even at the very least they can get together for a playoffs. Their best against GDOE's best at the end of the season.
But we're not even sure if that was what the nature of the message was. Is my understanding. Anyway, 8:32. We'll get around to that. I've got to move on here, and I got other things. But I've also been handed a bag of Doritos Tapatio chips. You aware of the significance of that, Robbie?
Oh, is it?
Never mind. Because
Tapatio chips. He's trying to.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna let you go. You and Mike
tomorrow,
get hooked up a little bit later on. So yeah, we've got the Tapatio Doritos chips. I ate on the air yesterday, so I'm gonna wait until after I get news or something like that to pop one of these things in my mouth. Coming up in the broadcast, and that is about all the time that we got to pretend to talk about sports. Coming up in the broadcast, we'll spend some time on SLP's speech and language pathologists that are going to be in the studio talk about about an event that they've got coming up that you might be interested in, depending on who you've got in your house and what issues they may have with the whole breathing and swallowing and talking thing. It's 8:33 in the morning, and Montesilva Tyrant's got news next.
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your fix every day with the Points NFL Pick'em contest. Get the latest updates as we check out the past week's performance and break down the upcoming action. Get your game on by calling the hotline at 888-TALK or sound off on Facebook Live at thepoint.gu. League members get a chance to win some awesome weekly prizes with a shot for your choice of a new GTA phone. The NFL Pick'em contest is brought to you by Current Guam with special thanks to GTA.
8:33 in the morning. Let's get Christmassy. Because it's a Christmas miracle, don't you know? Sonny, is it still Christmas? Yes, it's Christmas. Go down and get me the fattest goose that you can find, and we'll take it over to little Timmy's house, and we'll have a feast. Christmas miracle today is that, as it turns out, the governor's plan to at least ask for an extension over at the Supreme Court of the United States earlier looked like it was going to be rejected, and maybe a form of it was rejected, but a form of it was accepted, and now Michael Phillips is going to have the opportunity to put together a plan between here and the day after Christmas, and we'll see what happens with the Supreme Court, whether or not they pick up the writ of cert. It's like a 3 in 100 chance that it could happen, but it's a 3 in 100 chance. It's not completely dead. 8:34, and now with news from the Guam Daily Post and others, here's Montesilva Tyrant.
Well, like you said, Guam's been granted its request for extension in the appeal in the island's plebiscite law. Attorney Mike Phillips had asked the Supreme Court for an extension in order to build his case to appeal the lower court's ruling on the plebiscite vote. The Supreme Court on its website today indicated that Guam's application has been granted, extending the time to file until December 26. A number of offices, including the office of the CNMI governor, have been raided, but the FBI isn't giving too many details. They executed multiple search warrants at the office of the CNMI governor, Ralph Torres, Imperial Pacific International, Mariana's Consultancy Services, and Legend Realty, and other locations. Governor Torres says he will cooperate fully. And a Guam businessman and cockfighter has filed a complaint in the district court suing the federal government for what he says is violating his rights. Sedfrey Linsongan alleges his constitutional rights were violated with the ban on cockfighting on Guam. The ban is set to take effect on December 20th. He now wants the court to declare the ban unlawful and unconstitutional. And those are some of your headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Pick up a copy of the paper or log on to their website at postguam.com.
8:35 in the morning, just a couple of notes here. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a headline issue. Just got notified from my buddy Dave that Renaissance is hooking up again. It will take place at the venue Sunday night at starting at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
And
the
it's
reason why
only
it starts
one
at 5,
night, huh?
The reason why it starts at 5 is because we're all old farts and we can't stay awake past 10, even if there's no school or work the next morning. So we're
Well,
going
it's
to
nice to see that Ray is home. Ray goes back home, and I'll be there.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, that looks like a good time. And somebody was asking about did last night's event, the Art and Wine deal over at Triple J. How was that? Was it attended? Did we have a good time? And the answer is yes, we did have it. Well, I had a good time. I have a good time everywhere I go. There's a picture of me having a good time with Anna and Rowena, and you can see some of our other friends in the background wondering why they weren't invited for the picture. 8:36 in the morning, and that's all the time we've got for news and weather and sports. We'll take a quick look at traffic, and then we'll talk with our guests here in just moments. iConnect time is 8:36. They want to save you money. Call them up at 888-8888 and find out how they can do that with great internet, push-to-talk, and mobile plans.
Live the balanced lifestyle. Take Care Insurance offers proven wellness and fitness programs to encourage individuals and families to live a healthy, balanced lifestyle through preventative care, being active, eating right, relaxing and unwinding, and being socially connected. They have the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs for all ages. Join the movement. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram or visit takecareasia.com to learn more.
8:37 in the morning. Go eat at Mescla today. They've got these incredible deals for November. Pork belly and French toast. What? Hello? Say it again, Ray. Pork belly, crispy pork belly strips served over lightly battered brioche. There's a raspberry demi-glaze and top it with maple syrup. Visit Mescla in Agana and in Tumon and the Grand Plaza Hotel. Make reservations by calling 969-2652.
Hey, do you know what time the bank closes? I need to deposit my check.
You know you can do that from your phone.
I can?
With Bank of Guam's mobile app, it's easy. Just endorse the back and snap a pic to deposit it into your account. You can do this from anywhere, anytime, which means no rushing to catch the bank and no lines.
With Bank of Guam's mobile app and online banking, we're always open. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Traffic Gizmo time here on the point. We'll take a look at it's just intersection traffic. Don't see anything major bad right now. Seeing a lot of traffic on 4 Alpha, just south of Jeff Pirates Cove. Wonder what's going on in that part of the village, but it's internal inside the village traffic, which is kind of unusual around this time of day. 4 and 10 a little bit busy going in all directions through there. If you're trying to get off of 4 onto Route 10, make your way to Father Duenas, etc., you'll see some slowing down there. The intersection of 10 and 15 is ugly because it's among the worst traffic lights on the island. So if you're trying to get just across it, expect some delays. If you're going, say, from Price Elementary across the road to the back road to Anderson, there are going to be delays there for sure. 8, 10, and 16 running clear as of right now. See a little bit of traffic on Route 4 in the downtown Agetnia area. And for some reason, it clumps up around this time. And I got to figure out why. Over at the McMobile station, it seems to me everybody's already at school at the Harvest Place, but I'm watching traffic at that intersection in particular. Maybe it's one of those 2-for-1 days. I think it's you get the Hamburglar and whatever at the same time. I don't know. It could be 20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
What's for breakfast at KFC under $3.95, you ask? What's for breakfast at KFC that's different than the other guys, you ask? KFC's chicken wrap, sausage wrap, the Colonel's chicken congee, chicken fried steak, sausage biscuit and gravy, and biscuit sandwiches made with KFC's original fluffy biscuits. All for under $3.95 and all only at KFC. Plus, with waffles and the Colonel's chicken fried rice, we've got something for everyone.
So visit KFC for breakfast today. It's finger licking good.
O'clock in the morning. It is the Ray Gibson Show, 93.3, and no frowny face Fridays. We're not doing any frowny faces today. This doesn't care what the news is, whether it's bothersome or whether it's inconvenient. It's Friday, and there's going to be a big weekend coming up. I don't know about you, but the plans are almost setting themselves up. Anybody got a plan for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever? Sunday now. I realize I have a plan. One of my favorite bands, going back to the 90s, is getting back together for it's a one night only thing. It's Renaissance.
I was going to say Rumblefish.
Rumblefish. We can do Rumblefish too, and Renaissance and Rumblefish. We'll get everybody back together with the M80s, and it's. But the fun thing is, and I can identify, it's going to be on Sunday starting at 5 in the afternoon because there's no way we can stay up past about 9 or so.
Really?
Not the age group that we're talking about there. So let me see if I can go all the way around in the studio and see who's here. On my almost directly to my right, I've got Rowena. It's good to have you in here. When you can see her on the thing on the Facebook Live, and now she has gone from being in the Facebook Live lurking to actually being in the studio. And she's the one that also set up the arrangements on the interview.
I'm a top fan.
That's right, to get the little diamond there. And then we've got Sybil, who's Sybil Chrysostomo, who was here just a few weeks ago with Guam Regional Medical City.
Yes.
Talking about the speech therapy
rehab,
and rehabilitation. I'm in there. I'm talking to her, and I mentioned that she was a speech therapist, and she's kind of looks at me and shoots me this look like pathologist. Actually,
That's correct.
There's
you
a
learned.
I learned good. Thanks very much. And Brianna's in the studio as well.
Hi.
So you look like a rock star. You look like you should be playing in
thank you.
like an all-girl rock band.
That's the look I go for.
Is it?
That's the look I go for.
All right. Well, I want to say welcome to Guam.
Thank you very much.
When did you get here?
I got here about 2 years ago.
And have been doing what since then?
Speech pathologizing.
Pathologizing.
No, I've just been exploring your beautiful island, and I'm from New York, so it's a big change.
Oh yeah,
big change.
Well, there's all kinds of hiking and stuff like that. You get around it. Scuba diving. Have you got any scuba diving?
Snorkeling, hiking, just paddleboarding,
Yeah.
everything I can't do in New York.
Which is, yeah. And that's a great way to keep your day absolutely occupied.
Yeah.
So, did you pathologize in New York? Is that what
Yes, I did before.
So let's talk about because I want to kind of jump into this,
Sure.
get everybody get to know each other a little bit more. Are there things that you saw in New York that you don't see here, or things that you see here more than you saw, say, in New York?
There's more of an emphasis on culture here. You would think in New York, there's a big melting pot of cultures, but here, I thought I felt prepared because I'm like, okay, I'm from New York. There's so many cultures there. Here was a whole new, a whole new level of culture between, how people interact with each other and, how actually their cultures, or the culture here on Guam actually impacts my job. In a way of how I approach people, how I approach therapy, how I approach, interacting with the families. So it was I had a bit of a learning curve, but I think after 2 years, I nailed it.
Yeah. So give me an example of that. I mean, you're talking to somebody, so the cultural thing. And Sybil and I think it touched on a little bit of this as well when she was here. There's some families and in some cultures where you might only be talking to a patient, and in this case, it might be it's the patients, the mother, the father, the sister, brother, son, daughter.
Yes,
everybody
it's a family affair.
Yeah, so
for sure.
It almost becomes a system of care.
Yes, and which is great for the person that we're caring for because you have everyone wants to be involved. Everyone looks out for each other in these families, so it just makes the chance for recovery or a chance for improvement, for progress for that person that much more able.
Now, what kind of speech or swallowing or breathing maladies do you see here more than you did in say New York?
There's actually more language barriers here because of all the different cultures, the surrounding areas, Japanese, Korean, Vietnam. There's a lot more language difficulties that I, for one, am not familiar with. So back in New York, it's just, everyone is from a different culture, but we all speak English. Here it's primary language is Japanese, primary language is Vietnamese. So that was hard, but that's the big difference that I see.
And then trying to figure out how you're going to interact with them based on that. And then
based on their culture.
Which is the cultural things. And Wen is nodding her head up and down. And you
listening here.
Well, because you come from a couple of different cultures as well. I mean, as a Filipina, and you've been raised on Guam, and you've been around. And so the amazing thing to me is, I remember our conversations, you don't accent up until you get very comfortable.
Yes,
until
sometimes I can sometimes get that accent. So yes.
So as she's talking about different cultures, among the cultures that you're most familiar with, Filipino and Chamorro.
Sometimes they can have the Chamorro accent.
That works,
which I love.
We should see her when she's playing basketball, right?
Oh yeah. Hey, what's up?
When she's on the court. But anyway, so there are things that you're exposed to in your job. How are you? Given the nature of speech pathology here on Guam and the clients that you work with, the population evolves around here. It used to be just Americans and Filipinos and Chamorros. That was it. That was the total subset of all the different cultures on Guam. And now we've got Micronesians that are coming into the fold and more families from different countries that live here. How has that affected your job?
It's actually similar to what Brianna mentioned. There's just a lot of bilingualism that we deal with. And I relate to that because I'm bilingual.
Yes. Very helpful.
So we look at a lot of social emotional affects of kids. For kids that have that, we look at the difference between language barrier or language, communication disorder. So there's a difference in all of that. So we have to look at the overall cognition of the person to make sure that this is not a language barrier. It might just be the fact that, and it's not a language disorder. It's probably just the fact that they're bilingual. So, we have to always look at that as a speech path, that we don't only look at speech, we look at overall language, we look at family affects, and a lot of environmental affects.
So the longer I've known you, the more I've learned about speech therapy and how little some of it sometimes has to do with actual speech.
Oh, yeah.
There's
it's a big
this one here works over at the hospital, and she's got, and there's rehabilitation, there's, you got somebody, and it might might start with the kid's got a lisp. How are we going to take care of that? The kid has a hard time pronouncing things too. You know what? So and so is having a hard time swallowing food because it's all connected. It goes through the same muscles and the same pipes and the airwaves and all of that. So there's this. In my mind, sometimes the hardest part of speech therapy, speech pathology, is figuring out what's going on with the physics of the body, the biology, right?
Yes, yes. And actually, swallowing is kind of a later developed subject for speech pathology. It originated with articulation, speech, language, receptive expressive language things, and then the swallowing, people got involved with the swallowing and in the 60s, and it developed from there. But it was not a primary issue at that time when speech pathology was just developing.
And as a longtime practitioner here, and if I've asked you the question before, we'll do it for a new audience that's listening. Where do we start? How do you tell when you've got a little kid that has begun to speak? What are some of the things that a parent should be on the lookout for so that we can, if there is a problem, we can begin the therapy to correct it?
Well, generally speaking, a rule of thumb would be 1 year you talk in one word. 2 years you talk in 2 words. 3 years you're starting little sentences. 4 years you're doing stories. 5 years it's pretty adult-like except for the vocabulary level and the grammar.
And at 6 you can run for the legislature.
Absolutely. And if they're not following that general trend, then we might want to look at are we? And usually boys are a little slower in talking than girls, but not always.
And early intervention and early signs are key. The later you wait and see these signs and wait to get intervention, the harder it's going to be to help.
Good point.
So,
I just want to add on too that it's important for parents to know developmental norms. What am I seeing different from a child that's similar age, to my son or my daughter, and what about a 6-year-old that's similar to my? You have to kind of know what a 6-year-old or what a 5-year-old typically would do.
Do we run into situations where the kids might be exposed? And I remember there were kids that I grew up that watched a lot of cartoons when they were a kid and began to mimic what they thought was the way they were supposed to say things based on what the cartoon characters were saying. And oftentimes in the 60s and the 1970s weren't necessarily using the Queen's proper English and pronunciation on a lot of different words. It's Fat Albert, and there were a couple of characters in that television show. Exactly.
I thought.
What happens in that case where there's nothing anatomically wrong? There's no issues that they're actually having, but they're mimicking something on television. How do you correct that?
We don't. We just say, stop talking like that.
It really varies. It depends on the individual, and we also look at structure. So that's important. So structure would be something that's difficult to correct, but it varies. The person, the age, and what are all the different affects of what, first of all, triggered that that condition. Yeah. So it could be physical, it could be inborn, it could be
emotional.
At birth. Emotional. So, there's a lot of different areas for that speech part. And then again, we also do language. And then, like what Sybil said, we now take care of swallowing.
So now, as I understand it, you were trying to explain this to me last night, is there's differences between therapists and pathologists. The pathology, you can cut somebody, right?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
She can. Go ahead.
We master level speech pathologists licensed. They're fully able to conduct themselves independently. If you have a master's without your CCC, your American Speech and Hearing Association certificate, then you need to be licensed and supervised. But you can do testing and therapy. And for the bachelor level person, you need to be supervised and licensed, and you still. Again, you need to be supervised, but you can only do therapy.
Okay. All right. So like anything else, there's steps to this.
Yes.
I wanted to bring in, and Kellis, I think those headphones are plugged in, but I'm going to let you, Sybil, take the call, and then we'll work it through with everybody else. Kellis is on the line. Good morning, bud.
Hi. Good morning. I just wanted to mention that all throughout elementary school in Gov Guam, this is a few years ago, I saw a speech therapist. It originally was my S's, but I also stammered pretty extensively. And so
you're doing good now.
Fantastic.
I mean, the difference that I have now is that I actually know when I'm going to stammer. So if you ever hear me talking, you hear an unusual pause. Basically, I just restart. I stop, and then I start again like that, and that's how I stop my stammering. But my S's were everyone used to thought my mom named us Kenneth and Kelleth. And I said, my name's not Kelleth, it's Kelleth. So, it was pretty bad. But yeah, I just want to emphasize, I had a lot of help from my mom, and then when I got to, she made sure that I was in like plays, and later on I was in ROTC and drama and speech, and we did all of that. My mom was very much involved in all of my therapy and stuff like that. So, because you said earlier that the parents have to be involved, and that's what I wanted to call to say. My mom was very much involved in my recuperation.
I would have, you know what? If you hadn't mentioned that, I would never have known. I've known you for years, between you and your brother and the family. I would have never known that. So I'm glad that you've got the victory to brag about, and I'm glad that there's people up to it, including your mom, that were there for you when it was required. I'll talk to you pretty soon, and that goes back to what we were talking about, and what Brianna had mentioned, had noted is this becomes a family affair, and it's all hands on deck in the best cases.
Yes.
And also for stuttering, we all stutter. There are 8 normal disfluencies that everybody uses. And it's just sometimes with the fluency disorders, that's where it gets complicated. But everybody uses 8 different kinds of disfluencies.
It's word finding. You kind of like, what word was it? And then you start to stutter.
Yeah, that's
Filipino
happening more.
culture is always like,
Yeah, but that's happening more and more.
As you get older.
There are people that just start every sentence with so or yeah or something like that.
Or like.
Part word repetition, phrase repetition, dysrhythmic phonations. Well, those are all disfluencies that everybody uses.
But they're in broadcasting, we would refer to them as, say, a crutch phrase or a crutch word.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, and that gives us time to formulate the thought that is in our head. It gives us that extra second to be able to pull in that word that we were looking for a second ago.
Yes, it gives you time, and it also, doesn't let anybody interrupt.
8:54. They're actually here for a purpose besides just come on by and introduce Ray Gibson to new friends. But there is going to be a get together, and it's down the road a ways. But I do want you to start thinking about it. You've got another expert coming in, and somebody with a lot of initials at the end of her name, Dr. Joan Arvidsson.
Yes, she's a PhD. She's a certified speech pathologist. She also has her board specialty in swallowing, and she is world renowned for pediatric swallow. And she's going to be coming. She graciously said that she would come to Guam to give a conference, 3-day conference.
Because it's wintertime where she's from.
That's right.
How convenient.
And she also wanted to go to Japan. It was kind of so we are so looking forward to what she has to say about pediatric swallowing, especially in the realm of development, children with cerebral palsy, neurological disorders, and how can we make their swallows safe? And we are just really looking forward to it. And it's going to be held at the Lottie Stone Ricardo J. Bodario Governor's Complex.
Nice spot for it.
Yeah.
Not a big room. Are you expecting it's not going to be just you four? So
No.
who else do you want to show up at this?
We are actually asking for not just a speech pathologist, but also the pediatric nurses, NICU nurses, radiologists who do the X-rays on the children, the occupational therapists who work on the feeding, the physical therapists, pulmonologists.
Oh, then it could be a full crowd. Yeah.
Respiratory therapists, and not just on Guam. We're also reaching out to our surrounding neighbors in Micronesia, Saipan, Philippines, Japan.
So one of the things that is illustrated by that call out and shout out to all the different allied portions of that industry is just how central speech pathology, swallowing, especially with children, is. You might not see these pathologists or therapists first. The doctors might be curious as to what's going on, and then they would bring you guys in to start doing some of the the rest of the detective work. Unrelated to speech pathology, we've got the Jets and the Giants playing this weekend. As a New Yorker, what are your thoughts?
Actually, as a New Yorker, I am not a football fan. But I will always have to root for the Giants just because,
I'm looking at my producer. He's sort of giving
I'm
you
a
the
hockey
thumbs up
girl.
on that.
I'm a hockey girl. So.
Yeah,
and surprisingly enough, not New York. So.
Do you get together with the other New Yorkers here?
Do you know any other New Yorkers here?
Yeah, I'll make arrangements. We'll do introductions here for
I would
just a
love
second.
to meet them.
So, now, going back to this, is going to take place, and again, it's not until January 31st of 2020. You know who's going to be involved. You know who's going to be speaking at this deal. Now, will there be like continuing education credits, things like that, that are going to be handed out?
Yes, we are presently arranging for American Speech and Hearing Association to certify the education hours. The Guam board has already approved the conference. We're also trying to get CMEs for it. It's in process right now.
For the medical?
For medical and
Right.
nursing.
No, it's not just her. It's not just going to be her making the big, long 3-day speech. You've
Yes.
got
Oh, it is.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I
That's,
thought-
that's how
we're
much
not-
stuff she knows.
Wow. So I was going to say, we've only got about a minute and a half. Could you give me a couple of highlights that people out in the radio land might be able to understand? Because I could see some high level stuff happening, but give me some layman things that she's going to speak to.
So it's going to go through, pretty much it's going to go in a flow of just knowing the actual structures, the anatomy and physiology. Then it's going to go into the diagnosing, how to diagnose, how to decipher what you found, how to integrate it into other areas like school and home, and also the big treatment options that are available for these. So that's why all disciplines are welcome, because as we all work on an interdisciplinary team, so we all need to be on the same page.
I was going to say, I'm looking at the calendar trying to figure out what days of the week this is, because that's a major investment for a lot of people that are
Friday,
already working.
Saturday,
You've got
Sunday.
school and you've got GRMC.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, so all right, so it starting into the weekend hours. How much? Well, I'm sure that there's a cost for it. I'm sure that it's going to be worth it. You pay food, and of course we got raffles and cocktails at the end of every day.
I wish.
Well, it's going to be fun. It's going to be definitely fun. But
Where's the after party?
There's going to be after parties. We're trying to get
The after party
Yes,
is going to be Friday for Q&A session for doctors,
There you go,
NICU people, to ask her questions, pediatricians mostly, to ask her questions about what she thinks about certain aspects in safe feeding and swallowing.
You guys have got to come back here one of these days. All right, Wen, thanks very much for putting all this together. Sybil, always a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Can we just shout out our email and
We'll
maybe
have
our
to write it
Facebook
down
page?
for me, and I'll put it on next hour.
Okay.
We've already got the news planned.
Awesome.
Brianna, thank you very much for
you.
coming as well.
Thank you so much.
It's The Point. Here's the news.
That's according to closed-door testimony released today by the committees conducting the impeachment inquiry.
Deputy Assistant Secretary of State George Kent told House investigators he was told to lay low on Ukraine policy in deference to a back channel led by President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. In closed-door testimony last month, Kent said Giuliani was unmissable starting in March and was behind a campaign of slander against former ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Ivanovich. Kent told House committees President Trump wanted Ukraine's president to go to a microphone and say 3 words: investigations, Biden and Clinton. In questioning from Republicans, Kent said he had no direct knowledge security assistance to Ukraine was tied to opening investigations.
Fox's Jared Halpern on Capitol Hill. 2 more witnesses in the inquiry were supposed to testify today. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton did not appear. A New York judge sets a price tag to settle a lawsuit accusing President Trump of misusing his charitable foundation.
In Judge Sally Ann Scarpula's ruling, she determined the president used the charitable arm as a means of furthering business and political interests. She set the settlement amount at $2 million. The judge's ruling also okayed an agreement to shut down the Trump Foundation and disperse its leftover funds, about $1.7 million, to nonprofit groups. New York State's Attorney General Letitia James, in her suit against the president, sought a settlement of nearly $3 million. Still, she called it a major victory in protecting charitable assets. So far, attorneys for the president have not yet commented on the decision.
And a Fox News alert now. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg opening the door to a 2020 presidential run. America is listening to Fox News.
Half a day. Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Jade Uggan of Umatic, and this is where I start my day. Listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanonmo. Protect your land. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
GRMC's Neuroscience and Neurology Department treats a wide spectrum of disorders associated with the nervous system, spine, and brain. Some of the more common disorders include seizures, epilepsy, dementia, sleep disorders, migraine, and stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC's neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and the finest neurological doctors. To make an appointment, contact GRMC Specialty Clinics at 645-5500.
The Trump campaign is officially filed to be on the New Hampshire primary ballot.
Vice President Mike Pence doing the honors in Concord, New Hampshire of filing President Trump's name for the 2020 primary ballot for the first in the nation primary.
I couldn't be more honored on behalf of the President of the United States to add his name to the ballot. We look forward to being through the Granite State again and again.
President Trump lost New Hampshire to Hillary Clinton in 2016 by only 0.4%. The New Hampshire primary takes place on February 11th of next year. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
A major producer of e-cigarettes pulling another product off the shelves.
Juul Labs says it will no longer sell mint-flavored Juul Pods, the cartridges containing the inhalable nicotine vapors used in its brand of e-cigarettes. The decision comes in light of findings of a federal study of youth tobacco use. The company, already under fire for a number of vaping-related lung injuries and deaths, has already stopped selling candy-flavored products. Juul's CEO says for now they will only sell product with traditional tobacco or menthol flavors. Eben Brown, Fox News.
A new study by the advocacy group GLAAD finds TV is doing better when it comes to inclusiveness, saying the number of major characters who are LGBTQ on broadcast networks reached an all-time high this season of just over 10%, meeting the goal the group challenged network to meet by 2020. The Norway spruce that will soon grace New York City's Rockefeller Center this holiday season has been harvested in upstate New York. The tree is being donated by Carol Schultz, who bought it as a sapling back in 1959. The tree will arrive in New York City Saturday, where it will be surrounded by scaffolding and hidden for the decorating process. The official tree lighting will take place on December 4th. I'm Lee Silasera. This is Fox News.
Go green, go hybrid, go to Nanbo Insurance, and your next power bill is on us. Insure your hybrid car at Nanbo and get up to $350 towards your next power bill. That's instant savings for keeping our island clean and green. Nanbo has been providing Guam with over 50 years of reliable and affordable auto insurance. At Nanbo, it pays to go green. Terms and conditions apply. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for details. Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by APL, that's American President Lines, global presence with a local reach, and then we've got a local address, and then we've got the guys over at, is it Wendy's, where they're cooking up breakfast for you? $4 for a local breakfast platter. It's got eggs, it's got rice, some of the best fried rice on Guam you can get at the drive-thru over at Wendy's, and then we'll throw in some kind of breakfast meat. What kind of meat? Well, they got applewood smoked bacon, which comes out of the pig. They've got some kind of Portuguese sausage, which I think also comes out of the pig as well, and then there's my other favorite, fried chicken with a white gravy that is slathered over a bed of rice. Find that today at the drive-thru at Wendy's.
It's the Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Eight 9:06 in the morning, 888-8255, 888-TALK. Ray Gibson in the studio. And just shooting the breeze, going from one set of guests to another. And this is my pretty girl day here at the radio station. That's why it's No Frowny Face Friday, and when we can, Pretty Face Friday. And so we'll turn on the microphones and let everybody back into the room. I got Jeannie Donatis from Palau. We've been, and JFK class of when?
86.
Class of 1986. Maybe it was 86 that I was talking about, but I was going on to say, because I remember going to a career thing or a big field day at JFK in and around 85, 86. Had a great time on the campus, but for all intents and purposes, so many people that graduated from JFK believe that I went to school with them, because there was a time in the 70s I was actually dating two girls at John F. Kennedy High School, and so I was on the campus. I was on the campus. Well, not at the same time, but I was on the campus all the time, and I showed up to all the parties and stuff. It was just absolutely great time to be alive, and happy for JFK graduates from all over the place. We've got the International Women's. What's the name of your outfit? What's the group here?
The International Women's Club is made out, of course, of different women around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are here, and I am the vice president, and I represent my island of Palau.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, of course, our Madam President is from Korea.
Ina Lee.
Ina Lee.
Hi,
And
good morning.
Good morning. It's so nice to see you. We see each other at socials all the time, and you guys are planning another one, aren't you?
Yes, we have an event tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay,
Yes.
well, we better sell some tickets here. And Shahad Jifri from the land of Sri Lanka.
Yes. I'm a past president from International Women's Club.
Well, where exactly is Sri Lanka?
It's close to India.
Mm-hmm.
We're right below India.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, if I remember my history, it has not been Sri Lanka forever. It used to be
Yes, Ceylon.
Ceylon.
Yes.
So are you
we
Sri
were under
Lankan?
the British colony. Yeah.
So are you a Sri Lankan or Ceylonese? Which is the
No,
correct?
Sri Lanka.
Sri
because
Lankan.
we are now Sri Lanka because we gained independence in 1946.
Mhm.
So it's a Buddhist country.
Uh-huh.
So we took over from the British.
Fascinating.
Gained independence, actually. Yes.
You know, we have a conversation about independence around here
Yes,
as well from time to time, and so that has been an interesting. And there's sometimes developments, sometimes not developments. Tell me a little bit about the International Women's. Did you say club?
Yes, it is a
It's
club.
an international club.
It's a International Women's Club of Guam,
Mm-hmm.
and it was founded in 1973 by some ladies that lived here, about 8 of them, to include one of the Palauans, a lady that was living here for a very long time, Antonina Wong. And so what they did is they gathered in each other's home and had meetings. And as years went on, it grew. And as of today, Ray, there are over 78+ members.
Well, it makes sense. But, you know, one of the things that our previous guests were talking about was kind of the melting pot that Guam has become over the years. It used to be Chamorros, and then there's Chamorros and Filipinos and Americans, and now we've got Koreans that have become just an incredible part of our culture. There's always been a fantastic relationship between the Chamorros and the people of Palau and Yap, and now we have the Carolinians up in Saipan that seem, you know, that there's and we were just talking during the break about my relationship with the Palauan community here on Guam, and I have a great time. Was ushered into it almost by guys like Yoichi Rengil, and I grew up with the Murphys, for heaven's sakes. I mean, these guys have been a part of our community for so many years.
So you are from Tumaning?
I'm from lots of different places.
All of those names are they lived
They're
in
all Tumaning
Tumaning.
people, right?
Yes.
And the Koshibas and the Noys and all of that. So it's a great addition to our community, and so many similarities between the Palauan culture and the culture here on Guam.
Yes.
Isn't it so?
It is. And so, for example, in FESPAC, you saw the similarity of the performance and the attire that we have within the Micronesian Islands.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful thing, and I can't help but I'm gonna get in trouble for this because I'm gonna go to Palau and I'm going to buy some Palauan money necklaces, but I'm gonna wear them here, and I'm told that I'm not allowed to do that because
You're not allowed.
Because,
it's a woman's money.
But the necklaces themselves are pretty. I mean, that looks like jewelry to me.
Yeah. Yes.
But I guess it'd be like wearing a rosary as decoration or something like that, kind of sacrosanct. But I guess that's part of the point of the International Women's Club is to start talking about here's the cool things about our culture. These might be the things that make us different, but let's also talk about the things that make us the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is a social club, and we like to say that our club is a friendship club too. Yeah. We get together to share our culture and our differences
of culture with the country that we are from. And so mainly we are not a preferable club, yes,
non-profit.
but we are to share our culture amongst many different countries.
Well, it also helps to be attractive to help spur tourism into your different countries. Kaz Endo asking me, have you ever visited Chamorro Island in Palau? I didn't know they had one.
They had one?
There is? Where,
Chamorro
Kaz, you're gonna have to tell us where they are. Tom Van Engen saying, good morning, Ray. Very interesting guest. Well, that's the idea of the program here. Can't be political gossip all the time. You want some of that? Check out Troy Torres' page. He's online doing the program as well, and looking to see if where we've got some other friends that we can bring into the conversation on the Facebook Live. At any rate, so International Women's Club, we had dying to say you wanted to jump in.
No, I'm a past president from on 2010. I was the president, and I was also selected as Madam International. Everybody, I'm the first one who was being selected. I'm honored to be that.
There is a Madam International get-together tomorrow. That's that's one of the reasons why we're all here today is to
we select a person who is long time in the club, and then she has worked very hard. So that's how we are recognized to be Madam International.
Interesting.
Yes.
So do we know who the Madam International is for 2019?
Not yet.
Not
It
yet.
will
Not
be,
yet. It's all
announced
our
and
members.
voted.
They vote.
Yeah.
When's the election?
Same day. The same day. Tomorrow they vote. So they select. It's up to them. They gather who is the person who has worked very hard, who has been in the club for so many years. So she's being recognized. And the cultures. We have so many different members from other countries. Even French. Whoever comes to the island, we like to welcome them as friendship club. We bring them. I have brought so many people. So many of my friends are in the club. I have brought them to the club. So, even Miss, Edwina Jose.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Well, yes.
She was one of the pioneers, one of the charter clubs. And Miss Anna Vignaraja.
I remember Vignaraja,
Montessori
yes.
teacher, she has been a big part of the club. Yeah, she's one of the charter members.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Well, I was going to say, together with her husband now, the two of those guys. I remember Vigna from a long, long time ago. Nice fellow from the elevator company.
Elevator, Otis company.
And always made the same joke.
And we are happy to, anybody listening, we are happy to welcome them tomorrow. They can come in and we will invite them. And they can call me. I'm Shaha Jifri, and my number is 687-0575. If they would like to come tomorrow, we always welcome, anybody who inviting, We have tickets at the door. They can buy tickets at the door. Also, I want to say that we have country presentations every month. Every month we have
country presentations.
Presentation.
Okay,
That
tell me about that. What is the country presentation? You did one for Korea,
yes,
right?
Yes, I did one in the Korea one. So whoever is the member of our International Women's Club, they represent their country to present. But for tomorrow's event, we have a Madame International Ball. We have a country Palau and
dancing,
Korea,
entertainment.
We have a very professional dancers came from Korea for Korean culture traditional dance, and they're also doing some volunteers today at Termuning Senior Center. They will be performing, and they will perform at Micronesian Mall today at 7 p.m. to share our culture. Our theme this year is sharing culture, so it'll be a great time to show up, and then they can purchase the ticket at the entrance at $65. It's at the Hyatt.
I got you. You must be excited with the surge in Korean tourism in the last couple of years, are you not?
Yes. We have 6,000 Korean tourists arriving in Guam every day. So I'm very happy. I went to airport yesterday to meet the performance, but it was huge amount of Korean tourists are coming. So I was very happy to greet them.
And there's more. You drive around again. You go to the new legislature and the museum and the Plaza de España across the street, and they're just about your country folk are just about everywhere. So it's important that you have events like this that will help bring all of the different cultures together, all of the different communities together.
We'll be very honored. Yes.
Notable that it's being done by women. So I want to make sure that's very clear. And a note here from a listener: tell the lady that the Ministry of Crab is a great restaurant in Colombo in Sri Lanka. Are you familiar with it? The Ministry of Crab?
Yes, they're very popular. Yes.
Maybe we can get one opening up here. I don't know. Maybe work on
Yeah, that's
something
be
like
nice. A crab restaurant. Yes.
Yeah, a club restaurant run by women. So a little bit more.
So let me tell you a little bit more about the event, Ray. It is the Madame 45th year celebration of our Madame Ball. International Women's Club of Guam, we don't do fundraising. This event in November is like an anniversary event, our main gala event of the year. And we get together in sharing our culture, of course, friendship, and meeting many different people around the world. We have a lot of supporters. And tomorrow night, November 9th, at Hyatt Regency Hotel Ballroom, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., we will have our event. It is $65, and we would like to invite many.
That's a good price, by the way.
It is a good price.
I was gonna say, that's
Reasonable.
Yeah, because I'm looking at something else that's going to be taking place a little bit later on, and it's $200 a head. This is not the International Women's Club.
No,
deal.
it's not. So this year we are honored, and we were able to work with Hyatt Regency and get a reasonable price for our event, because we wish to invite everyone to come and join us, men and women
and family,
and
yes.
children. And that evening we will have entertainers from, of course, Korea. And we have young dancers from Palau, and also the Chinese Lady Association are going to be performing.
So it's what a great network of networks here. I could see how everybody is like one WhatsApp person away from somebody else. That we might not have the resources that we need, but we know how to get a hold of somebody that does something like that. What are some of the other things that you guys do out in the community? I mean, you get together, you have meetings, sharing culture, that kind of thing.
Yes, each month we have a meeting, and we have our meeting at Outrigger Resort. Every meeting, as the ladies mentioned, we have a country presentation. So we take turn in introducing and presenting our country, and we also go out in the community in helping a nonprofit organization. We have been very blessed with our past Madame International Ball, making extra so that we gave to Red Cross, for example, during the disasters, the tsunami, and I believe
Saipan. Tsunami Saipan.
And Virgin Island, So we help global. We don't just help within our community.
Yes.
We help everywhere,
Well,
because we
we're
are
International Women's Club. But yeah, I see where that is going to come in handy. It sounds like it's going to be a great event. It's over at the Hyatt, $65, and the food over at the Hyatt is always very, 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 very good. And the service is always going to be excellent. So I'm sure that you're going to have no problems filling the seats for the gala. And then we'll find out who the actual Madame is. For the International Women's Club. I got to ask this question because it's just kind of curious. It's 2020, and all things being what they are, and political correctness being what it is. Will you be accepting any applications from men to join the International Women's Club?
Well, we'll put that into consideration,
Right.
but. Yes,
as a guest.
Yeah,
Yes.
they come as our guest.
And friends. And normally, First Lady are our honorary member.
Right.
And this year we have a first gentleman.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So Ken, the Jeff is walking around over at as a member.
He will be there tomorrow night. Yes, with the governor.
He is not going to. He's going to love every second of it. Trust me. I know he's going to have a good time when he's out there hanging out with the International Women's Club. Is there a website? Is there a Facebook page or something like that? I mean, there are women listening going, this sounds like something I'd like to do once a month.
Ray, we are in the process of putting that. We have had requests about Facebook and website, and we have a member that's going to be preparing
our website. So when that comes out, we'll definitely contact you.
Oh
and
yeah,
put
yeah.
them
Well,
out- put it out on the
put the
social
link up
media.
on this social media so
Yes.
everybody can see it, and maybe they keep interviews like this and turn that into content. That
You know,
can
as I
use.
mentioned, it is the 45th year,
Mhm.
and back then they didn't have anything. So we still have charter members. For example, my auntie Kathy Tobiasen, she doesn't do WhatsApp. So,
Yes.
so mainly they communicated through email and phone calls.
The phone calls,
So
the
now
hi-hi, the
we
old
are
way.
gradually putting our club into the social media. And so when we get that website, we'll definitely contact you.
You mentioned Kathy Tobiasen and her husband Paul still out there,
Yes.
very, very
Yeah,
active.
very
as well.
active.
Comes every month.
Every meeting there.
Yes, every
Yeah,
month.
and it's still very, very active in the environmental scene and helping people understand how important it is just to keep the island clean and picking things up. I see him from time to time. I don't know if he remembers me, but I see him from. It's the beard throws everybody off. Ladies, I want to thank you very much for coming by the station.
Thank you for inviting us.
Before we end, we have a special this year that we are donating 33 TVs to GMH VA Pink Ladies to support our local hospital. They are short of 33 TVs for patients' rooms. So on our profit of this event, we are supporting our local hospital for GMH VA, donating 33 TVs.
Yeah, that is terrific.
Yeah, if we can,
That was
all our locals to be supported. Yes.
I was going to say, I mean, there seems to be this would make a great central committee, if you will, for all of the other different women's organizations here on Guam. Because I know that you're probably sitting on a couple of other boards or member of other organizations. I know you are a member of every club on Guam, Ina, all of them. And so, like I said, we're all one WhatsApp away from each other on all of this stuff. So it's possible that the resources that you need might be found with the International Women's Club of Guam. All you need to do is reach out and ask, and who knows,
Yeah.
maybe there could be something like working with the Guam Hospital Volunteers Association to make
Yes.
sure that we've got these TVs in the rooms.
Yes.
And turn them into like little tiny Hiltons. 9:23 in the morning. We'll call that iConnect time. Run by the nearest iConnect and learn what you need to learn about everything about saving some money. The holidays are going to be coming up, and I don't know about you, but I could always use a couple extra bucks for beer and smokes. So save money with your iConnect plan. They can do that with your mobile, internet, and even push to talk. 888-8888.
Connecticut water treatment customers don't keep coming back. They're satisfied the first time. That's right. Connecticut non-electric water treatment systems take care of your water problems, and you won't need to keep calling us for repairs. Join the list of satisfied Connecticut customers who purchased their non-electric water systems years ago and are still enjoying clean, conditioned water without any hassles from timers or circuit boards.
American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water. Studio time 9:25.
I can play a Christmas song while you take my selfies.
No,
if you'd
so
like.
I got to do the selfies here as evidence that I've been a good boy all day long, as opposed to most of the rest of the week. See you guys later. 888-8255 is the telephone number, and if you want to WhatsApp me, you're more than welcome to do that as well. 988-5874 is the deal there. Nice to have guests in the studio, pretty faces on a Friday, as opposed to frowny faces. And you might be wondering, are there frowny face stories that are out there? And the answer is, it's Guam. Of course, there's frowny face stories. Would you like a couple? Would you like a couple of things to go, oh man? There are at least 4, maybe 5 cases of criminal sexual conduct here on Guam, and the more I read the blotters, there are people in this community that are just the creepiest folks that you can imagine, and the sad thing is that they live next door to you. I mean, their houses down, their doors down from where you are. And they just get away with. They've done some of the creepier things in this town.
Yeah, again, as you know, I've only been here about 3 years, and that's really the one thing that's bugged me about Guam most of all. I mean, you have this kind of behavior in every community. But Guam is a very isolated, tight-knit, and there's only less than 200,000 people here. And for this many of these types of incidents to happen, it just blows my mind.
Right? Yeah, the front page story, 6 years for sexual assault of an 8-year-old boy. I mean, that's creepy. That's page 1. Page 2, boy testifies in abuse case. I was only 4, and allegations about this Jeff Cruz, who's taken advantage of the boy and a couple of other girls in the house, and you just go, you got to be kidding me. And that's in the first 1 page of the newspaper. Underneath that one is this story. Court upholds sex offender's conviction for peeking in the restroom. Valvano Irwin. And the word that you're looking for is peeping Tom, and among the lowest of the low, just creepy CSCs are guys like this. That stick the camera under the door in the ladies' room, and you just go, wow, there needs to be something else. And I just wonder how people get so messed up. What is had it always been going on? I mean, we just know more about it because they're getting more arrests, and the victims are feeling a little bit more empowered to be able to make these allegations against the guys and the girls. And the girls, you might be thinking, well, yeah, we got a bunch of creepy guys here on Guam. We'll go to page 5 of today's Guam Daily Post, where there's even more creepiness. Judge dismisses charges against 3 accused of sexual assault on the teens. The allegations are that these 2 creepy guys were involved with an 18-year-old victim, and among some of the allegations, it was another woman was videoing and posting these videos of these sexual assaults on the teens. Just absolutely creepy. It's these kinds of stories. Say what you want to about the military buildup. I think stories like this might be scaring away some of the people that would go, yeah, let's go to Guam, and they go, have you seen what they wrote about on the Post? Don't know if we want to head off in that direction. So, yeah, there's a couple of things. So watch out for that this weekend. Just rampant creepiness that we seem to have in this town. It's unbelievable. But that, I think, is probably the extent of the creepy, frowny face stories that you might want to see. The rest of it turns into a little bit of some kind of amusements, at least amusements for me. The FBI is like all of a sudden we got some people running around in the FBI that have now got their eye on the Marianas chain. All of us. They got guys that are going after mayors. A mayor has been arrested, is incarcerated, awaiting trial on allegations that he used his power as a mayor and his connections between the police department, the marshals, and the Department of Corrections to basically run his drug power empire. Huh. And the FBI is apparently paying attention. The FBI is watching all of this stuff, and I guess they've decided that they're done watching and have made the arrest here on Guam. They have not made any arrest that I'm aware of as of 9:29 this morning of anybody in Saipan in the CNMI, but it sounds like, it literally sounds like a plane load of FBI agents were flown into. Well, if you look at the front page of the post, there's 4 of them right there, yeah. And I'm sure that these aren't the only. One's kind of cute. I'm sure there's not the only 4 of them that found their way up to the NMI, because it sounds like they were doing bang on the door investigations at the governor's office, the casino operator's office, law firms, things like that, walking around with a bag going, you give me your camera, you give me your cell phone, give me your cell phone, give me your cell phone. What's that? iPad? I'm taking that too, because they don't know where the evidence is going to be found. But I'm pretty sure you know what, I don't know how often you bleach bit your phone, but maybe if you're involved in some of these kinds of dastardly affairs, you better watch out, because the FBI is in town, and they seem to be reining investigations all over the place. So you look at what's happening up there with the governor and the casino operator, and you heard a little bit of speculation on the part of Brad Rosala this morning. And if you didn't, it's online. You should be able to VOD that a little bit later on in the program. It's just interesting. But the other question is, are there connections? That's the thing. Okay, so this is the way my mind works, right? You take 2 seemingly unrelated things.
Right.
and then wonder out loud, if you want to, if there's some kind of a connection. You see what's happening on Guam, and we've seen what's happened, in the last 24 hours up in Saipan. Question that I've got is there a connection between the two of them? Investigations that are going on there, are they linked to investigations that are going on here, and vice versa? I don't know. Could be. There's lots of different ways that people get themselves connected between here and there. Is there an ice problem up in Saipan? Yeah, I don't know that it's as bad as the one that we've got here on Guam. Are there opportunities for corruption up in Saipan? What was the name of the guy? Wasn't Tom DeLay, was it? Who am I thinking of? Maybe it was the guy.
Yeah,
I think it was the Hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And different stories that were told about that. I mean, you get some of the biggest labor cases and the biggest fine in labor cases. Those were handed out up in Saipan years and years ago. Everybody's come clean, found Jesus, but it still took place back in the day. 888-825-5888-TALK. December 20th. Keep that date in your head. And the reason why December 20th is a date that needs to stay top of mind is because apparently that is the day that the ban on cockfighting nationwide, especially Guam and Puerto Rico, goes into effect. That's right. Now, let me just scooch down in the calendar because I'm kind of curious as to what
I'm sorry,
what
I had
day
to
of the
use
week
the
that
chicken
is.
sound of the chicken being bathed in the white gravy, but it serves the
That's
same
okay.
purpose.
No, I get it. Hold on a second. I'm dying to find. I want to look in the calendar and see what day of the week that. Oh, it's a Friday. December 20th is a Friday. In the mainland, it's going to be a Friday too, which means that for us, the effective date out of Washington D.C. of this measure would be the 21st, Saturday.
Man,
So
they won't even give us a week to get accustomed to the change.
I'm just saying.
Just blow us out.
They've been talking about. Well, I mean, it's not like they asked us in the first place whether or not we wanted a ban on cockfighting, because I know people personally. That's their deal. That's their livelihood. There's one online right now, Denise Legaspi, Lady D, and she's in the business of getting birds and raising them, and then not giving them, but selling them to people that might want to use them in their derbies and their cockfighting. And I know people that own feed stores. What's going to happen to them when people don't need to buy chicken feed for their very expensive birds? What's going to happen to the people that buy the specific vitamins and supplements and things like that get mixed into this food for these birds? I mean, some of these birds are taking more medication than some of our senior citizens around here. So there's commerce
Some
behind.
of them are in better shape than you and I.
That's some healthy bird. You better be winning all the derbies there, I'm telling you. But anyway, so the 20th of December is when the thing is supposed to take effect. And I would like to see on the 21st, I would like to see a major derby to take place at the governor's office. And I don't know if the governor's office is going to line up with me on this, because we don't often have a chance to talk about it. But it seems to me that there ought to be some kind of a statement that we make to the federal government that says, you know what, even though we might agree that cockfighting is a bizarre, medieval kind of backwards caveman sporting event, it's still our backwards medieval caveman sporting event. And if you want to ban it, you probably should have asked us first. Could you have come and consulted with us to a degree before you just leveled this law at us and say, you will comply? You have no choice. We're the federal government, and we're going to make you comply with this. So I'd like to, because I personally enjoy taking an affront to that kind of aggressive governing. I'd like us to have a major derby. We could call it the Lulian Guerrero, cockpit derby or something like that. And you take all the credit for it and bring everybody and all of their birds and all of their bird stuff and the blades and all of that stuff. And we'll just all in the front of the governor's office have this big derby. Winner take all, loser leaves town. And invite the FBI. And we'll have the admiral come on down. We'll give him a bird. This one's your Godzo here, Admiral. We'll give you, it's a white one. It matches your Navy outfit. That's what we'll do, is a white fighting bird. Denise could find one of those. I'm just asking. Dennis Benson asking a question that, for the first time, I can't actually read this one on the radio. But anyway, you know where I'm saying. You know where I'm headed. Question authority, fight the authority. I think it's a bad law. I don't like the way it was implemented around here. And I'm wondering what they would do if there was a cockfighting derby here on Guam at the governor's office. Would the FBI take into custody the governor of Guam, the lieutenant governor of Guam, and anybody that had anything to do with it for encouraging that kind of thing? And is that something that you'd go to jail for? Come on, let me be Jane Fonda just once. I want to go to jail for a cause, because I think that would be an awesome cause to go to jail for, right?
See, encouraging is fine. As long as you're not participating, you would probably be free of any sort of responsibility.
You know, like I said, I'm gonna participate. I would participate in that. I would go, and I would, the same way last weekend I participated in that record breaker with Nissan. Got to drive the Nissan 50th anniversary Z car. I would like to participate in something like this, and just a little bit of civil disobedience, civil unrest against this.
It would be as simple as just placing a wager on one of the matches. At that point, you're a participant, and you are guilty of whatever laws they say we're breaking.
All right, but again, my point is that I would not try to skirt it. I'd just wide in your face confrontation. Oh, you're telling me I can't have a cockfight? Who again are you to tell me what I can and can't do? And from Washington, D.C., never been to Guam, don't understand us, don't understand anything about us. We've got all kinds of other problems that you have either intentionally or unintentionally brought to the island over all of these years. But ignoring all of that, you're going to step in like the benign white fathers in the land of the tall Quonset and tell us that we're backwards and uncivilized because we're still fighting cocks on Guam. Just saying. That's right. Nate Horn says, hold my beer. Hold my beer. If you don't like a law, then challenge it. If you think that somebody has taken advantage of the system, rigged the game against you, challenge it. And to the degree, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the show. Folks that have been here since 6 o'clock will recall Mana and I giggling about it because it's funny, is the notion that the more I talk about it on the radio, the crazy thing is the more widely held it seems to be that there is some kind of a political future for me. And I personally don't get it. I try not to encourage it, but it would give rise to an opportunity for me to challenge the conventional wisdom that says that guys in the media cannot be in the media if they're going to be running for political office.
Yeah, but you'd lose, man, because it's just not fair.
Because the man.
Yeah, it's just not fair that you get to be in public every day, whether you're talking about your platform or not. You're keeping your name up at the top of the recognition list.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah. I don't disagree with that at all.
Now you could do it, but only if you had a different candidate in the seats for every single hour segment that you're on the air, and giving them their equal time, and then maybe you could pull it off.
Yeah. See, now I'm not sure if I want to go down that. In fact, I know I don't want to go down that road. So in my mind, it is that thing that I think is, I don't know, it's incongruous. Is there a requirement for extra time? I'm not paying for this. In fact, I'm being paid to be on the radio, so I'm not paying for the airtime. I'm not using it to further any kind of political career. In fact, a political career that I'm hesitant to even talk about. But not for me, but for somebody else. What if there's somebody else out there in Radio Land? What if, Bob Klitsky, what if he wanted to go back into the legislature? You'd still want tall tales with Bob Klitsky, wouldn't you? And there's any number of other people that are working at other places that got a federal ticket with the government to be able to modulate an airwave or sit in front of a camera. They have opinions. Should Clint Rigel, if he decided that he wanted to go back on television, PNC, KUM, or wherever, and be on the television, my day job is working as a reporter. My night job is working as a reporter, and then reading the news to you on a television at night. But just because it's time to get reelected, should he step down from that position, even though all he is doing is merely his job? Why is my job that much different than anybody else's that I would be required to step away from it?
You've been doing this how long?
40 years.
And would you do anything else?
That's the other thing. What the heck am I going to do? I don't even know how long the embargo on the Ray Gibson show would last. I mean, if it was a couple of weeks, I suppose I could live with it.
Right.
But if they're talking about, 45, 60 days outside of an election, I don't know.
You'd go stir crazy.
Well, I'd go stir crazy. My partners would go nuts because the company would be running out of money. Because hoping they'd still pay me even though I'm not on the air, maybe for some of the other duties that I do around here. I'm just saying, who is the government to tell me that I can't be on the radio and run for office at the same time? So, as I said, to the degree that I will commit, I will, like Dave Davis did, go and sign up. I'll go pick up a packet. And if the paperwork doesn't really bother me, what if Troy Torres was to run for something like that? Would he have to give up some kind of extra time, or does that not apply to what he's doing in his version of social media?
That's an interesting question.
That is an interesting question.
Because technically, I mean, for us here, you've got a different issue.
The federal ticket doesn't apply to him.
Right. So, because we've got, all sorts of requirements and FCC and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just a social media news guy.
So, could he? Oh, he's been shaking the cage lately.
Oh, wow. Yeah, big time.
Yeah. If this time next year there is no more gaming devices on Guam, you thank Troy Torres. I'll say that, and it's not just because he's my cousin, Troy. I'll say it because the guy is shaking the cage. Not only is he shaking the cage, whatever animal is inside the cage, he's poking with a stick. And Johnny Rosario is poking from the other direction. So that creature in that cage is not getting any rest, not getting any quarter. I don't generally talk about other medias, but in this case, I'm rather proud of what Troy is up to. I was never inclined to support gaming devices. And the proliferation of game rooms all over our community, I think, is an embarrassment.
I mean, I'm okay with Pac-Man and Galaga, Defender.
But you ought to see these guys. I mean, there was a video floating around of these guys basically tweaking on the games. You go to some of these bars, restaurants at certain times of the day and night. This is all you hear. It's the tapping against the machine. You're playing a machine, putting the quarters in the machine, lining up the cards, and that's all you hear the entire time. Well, you're not going to hear it at King's anymore because they've removed those machines. I'm told that they've been removed from a couple of other restaurants that had them for the same reasons, because there were not enough protections and separation between those machines and customers in those locations. I like the idea of let's take this all the way through, and to the degree that I will support a measure that eliminates the gaming devices, then I want to say that Telena's got it going on over at the legislature. However, her measure does not specifically ban or outlaw those devices.
You know what I thought was really funny is that there was a sign in one of the establishments that somehow said, we're not responsible for your children left unattended. The sign was right there by the games. As though the little sign says, oh, well, we can break the law, but, and if your kids are over here, it's not our problem.
Yeah, I mean, keep track of your children. And maybe somebody thought that was the loophole. Maybe somebody thought that was the way around it is that will be our prohibition. We'll stick up a sign.
Yeah, you can't disclaimer for yourself from law.
So, Troy, I'm proud of you. I'm behind you, and anybody that's listening, because it gets crap gets back to me, guys. Somebody actually had the temerity to go to my sister and accuse her, not that one, the other one, accuse her of feeding me malicious arguments about the gaming devices. I'll tell you this right now. My sisters and I have had zero conversations on gaming devices whatsoever. My thoughts on this are completely my own. So if you think that somebody's back-channeling information and trying to railroad this program and the conversation into that, you got another thing coming. I have never been a fan of the gaming devices. I was very upset with the legislature and said so many, many times on another radio station how ridiculous I thought it was that they created a situation by which these devices would be legally licensed on Guam for the duration of, at the time, the financial problems, the financial woes of the Guam Memorial Hospital. Now it is turned into something that is perpetual. They never did correct it, which kind of indicated to me that other forces were at work preventing the legislature from movement. And I'm told that some of those same forces are lobbying other members of the legislature right now to maintain the status quo on those machines.
Yeah, here's the thing that kind of blew my mind about the whole thing, because I've seen the game rooms around since I got here, and yet I find out that they don't want a casino here. And it's like, well, what's the difference? I mean, really, what's the difference? They're going in, they're paying money, they're playing and trying to win money. That's what a casino does. So it was just like a disconnect there, you know.
This is Planet Guam. There's a lot of people might think that it's an island in the Pacific and all of this International Women's Club and all the different connections that we make. When we want it to be. When we don't, we're our own planet. We want it the way we want it, and that's all there is to it. And if I tell you that I support gaming, and casino gambling at that, because I think it might be good for tourism, might help out with the taxes and help out with the finances in the government of Guam, then I'm going to say that. Did I vote for it? Would I become an active spokesman for it as others have in the past? Probably not. Probably not. But I'm also of the opinion, and people will disagree with me, that we didn't actually vote them down. There's always this thing. I think the question hadn't always been asked the right way. I think there had been a significant kind of challenges mounted against them, the same way that there were challenges that were mounted against guys like Frank Uggan when he was trying to run kind of as an independent, kind of a write-in. There were all these people that said, no, that's not the way we're going to do it. So I think that there were cases, and I'd have to look them up in the separate, on the elections where we did vote on the plebiscites, on the casino gambling here on Guam, but it never felt, to me at least, like it was definitive. Like the question had been answered. So to that case, I'd go back and do it again. I'd keep asking until we get to a yes, and then put together a casino commission like they've got in Las Vegas, determine the number of casinos that we're going to have. If we'll do it that way, how many gaming licenses are we going to have out there? Who's going to control that? Who's going to police it? Who's going to be in charge of revenue collection for the government of Guam? And it's not the first. We've actually answered this question before, not too far away from where you live.
Right.
It used to be a dog track.
Right, yeah. I was surprised when you told me that.
That was a dog track, babe. And there were greyhound dogs in there, and they'd go chase a rabbit, and it was always fun. You know what to talk to about that? Jeff Pleadwell.
Okay.
Jeff used to go down there all the time, and I'd ask him for advice, because I'd never actually done casino, the greyhound racing.
Yeah.
So he's down there. I'm going, okay, which one do I vote on? He says when they parade the dogs at the beginning of the race, oftentimes one of the dog will take a dump. That's the one. Yeah. You bet on that dog. You find out what name that dog is. That's the one, because he's going to be lighter. He's going to be lighter and faster, and that's how you win.
He's going to be happy.
That's how you win at greyhound racing. Next to the main body of the racetrack is a building. Just kind of a nondescript building. That used to be a revenue and tax office. So as the dollars, there were big dollars some nights, as the dollars were coming in off the racetrack, the government of Guam was there. Right there.
Yeah.
And they go, okay, stop. How much do you have? And they take their share of it and write it all down someplace and stick it in a note somewhere. And the government of Guam got their share of the gambling dollars before it went in a bank, before it went anywhere else. Good morning, Director Cho. It's online.
Yeah, when they finally legalized greyhound racing in Texas, similar situation. When you go to cash out your winnings, you simply go, you turn in your ticket, and then the lady figures it all up, gives you a receipt, less the taxes, and that's what you get. And then they turn it all in, and it's an inside. It's not even handled in such an exposed way. It's just you got to pay the state, and that's how it goes.
So here's and I hope BJ Crew's getting to work on what went wrong with the casino that we had over at the carnival. Was it poorly managed? Was it poorly run? Was it losing money on purpose? Those kinds of questions that he's asking out there, and I'm curious as to what the answers are going to end up being, because I am one of those guys that this, what was it, $15,000 worth of revenue that was generated from the taxes at the casino. I'm sorry, that's not right. That cannot be right. 60 days, 60 nights of casino activity in there. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head whether there was a gazillion people in the place. I don't know what kind of attendance that they had. I know that they were checking IDs and stuff, and maybe that was it had maybe kept people away. Maybe, I don't know. But at the end of the day, we didn't make the kind of money that we should have, and that was the whole basis of my argument for it. Was that there's going to be a casino, and the House never loses money. And so the government of Guam ought to be able to take advantage of that and take some revenues from it. You're telling me that we only got 15 grand out of that thing? Something is wrong. And I hope there is an effective investigation into exactly what all of that was. 888-825-5888-TALK is my telephone number. 951 already? What? So yesterday, I was having the political conversations with people at an art and wine event that took place last night. And whoever it was that bid against me on the pretty painting, sorry, not sorry, that I took all the pens and hid the auction sheet.
Denied.
I really wanted that painting, and I ended up probably paying more than you were going to pay for it, because I saw where you took your bid. I took mine all the way up to $75. Had the PayPal thing all squared away last night before I split. So I've got a new painting that I get to put up at the house. But one of the things I liked about that fundraiser was it was accessible. Only cost me $20, and I drank about $30 worth of wine. So I got my money's worth out of the event, and I had a terrific time. But
that explains the glow this morning.
Yeah, I've always, I've always got a glow, because happy to be at the office.
It's a little more pronounced this morning, I think, with the wine. With the
you
vino.
know what it is? It's the red light. It's just, if I cover this up, there's no glow anymore. Right. So, but it seems to me that there's all these events that are coming up, and they're hella expensive anymore. Yeah. So I clipped this out. I want to go to this. I'd like to go with somebody to this. This sounds like a great date night thing, doesn't it? The Micronesian Chefs Association presents the 10 Culinary Wonders of the World and Guam's Top Chef's Table. This will take place on November the 20th at the Hyatt. And I've been to events just like this. 10-course tasting meal, beverage pairings, celebration of food and wine. And I'm going to have my beer, right? And I'm looking at this going, okay, 10 courses, it's $200 per person. Ow. I love you guys at the Chefs Association. I've been there with you. I've been in the trenches. We've worked together. We've done parties together, you and I. Yeah. Naughty, what? I didn't say anything naughty yet. And I'm going, $200 a person. And if I wanted to go with somebody, what do you think, Director Cho, me and you? If I wanted to go to something like that, it'd be $400 for 2 dinners, basically. And I'm going, you're kidding me. So I don't know. I mean, I get it. I'm looking at the star power of the guys and everything, and I know the nature of the competition. It's going to be fun, and I'm sure the food is going to be fantastic. But $400 to make 2 turds, I'm just not sure about that. It's 9:53.
When's the last time you looked at your homeowner's insurance?
We buy a homeowner's policy and never give it another thought until something happens. Life brings changes, and our coverage needs can change. The smart thing to do is get the answers and level up our insurance to make sure we're totally protected.
That's the Insurance Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today by calling Guahan Insurance Services at 475-1162 or visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center in Tamuning.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
It sounds ominously like a Christmas tune. Is it that time? Mana sent me something. I think I ought to be able to put this up. I was asking earlier Uncle Robert about the appropriate time to put up Christmas trees and Christmas decorations and the like. And as a result of that, Mana did some meme hunting and found this. Here's a pic of my Christmas tree. And then there's a picture of a shed, and it says, that's right, it's still in the shed because it's November. Wish I could get the whole thing up on the screen so you can see it. Can I? Can I? I don't know. But anyway, so there's that. Yeah, here's a piece. No, I still can't do it to get the whole thing up on the screen. Something about memes that makes me crazy. Let me put this one up because I know you can see that. If you're watching on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, whatever, those are the tickets, and that might be Dave Torrey's thumb. And those are the tickets to one of the things, maybe a must-attend over the weekend if you're in a certain age group here on Guam. Renaissance, the band. It looks like they've got a gig on Sunday night over at the venue. It's, what is that, $15 a head, something like that? Comes with a Stella Artois, And that's a good beer. They pour it in a chalice for you if you want to be fancy like that. It's not a glass. It's not a cup. It's a chalice. So Mike could do that. It is a 3-day weekend. Programming note while I'm thinking about it now is that don't come here Monday morning. There will be something playing from the network. Jose is in charge of that, not me. So something will be modulating between 6 and 10, and something else will modulate the carrier between 4 and 6. On Monday, and that's the way it is. It is Veterans Day, and we will mark that with our own observances, and for the staff here at the radio station, an opportunity for them to go out and spend the day with their favorite veteran while they still can. And I would suggest that you do the same thing. So we'll all get together on Tuesday. I know that I get a couple of people in the States that are going, wait a second, that means I'm not going to hear from you for a long, long time. Yeah, 3-day weekend. It'll work like, but we'll eventually all get back together. And the good thing is, this is Guam. This is Guam. And it is possible that today there might be something that comes out of the governor's office or over at the legislature. Heck, the FBI might even do something today. Who knows but something will occur over the course of the next couple of days and then Monday, the day off, I'm sure that there's going to be crap flying around on that day as well. So it is possible that by the time it gets to be Tuesday and we're all back together, I may have about 4 days worth of political gossip and smart aleck comments all just pent up, waiting for the opportunity. We haven't this hour taken a look at weather radar or anything like that. But I've gotten on my messenger at least one request to spend some time on the beach with me this weekend, and I'm kind of curious as to what the future may hold for grill marks, etc. Today maybe and into the weekend. You think maybe because I'm looking at the radar right now. I know it's just a chunk of the island, but
see, and the problem is that we've got this one area moving off, but this area we were talking about down to our south and southeast supposed to come this way, and you can see that is actually the genesis point of these other showers that are coming in. So I expect we're going to have another round of rain start up here in just a moment as that in a few hours as that blobbage makes its way on through.
Now, let me do a refresh on the satellite and see if that blobbage is coming up in the right direction. In the meantime, while we're waiting for that to load, you and Robbie from GSPN going to be getting together tomorrow for the coverage of the All-Star Game. I'm very, very happy that you're doing that.
I'm thrilled. Like I say, it was an opportunity that I've actually looked forward to since I've gotten here. I just haven't really found the right opportunity for it to happen.
Yeah.
And so very cool. Robbie and I are going to team up out there at Ramsey Stadium at JFK and do the high school All-Star football game. And we'll see if I still got my chops, man.
Now, when you've called games in the past, was it always football or have you done?
Yeah, I've done football. I've done minor league baseball as well. And the high school football that I did back in the day, it was started out with 3A football, which is kind of small in Texas, but we had a good team. Then I got a chance to do 4A and 5A football for the Texas State Network for a short time. And those are the big boys back then. And I even got to call the State 4A semifinals in College Station, Texas, which was kind of fun.
9:50 now. We're going to close out with the satellite imagery here. And, it does look like some of that blobbage is making its way over here. But it looks like there might be enough southwestward movement. So maybe it could push off by tomorrow. And maybe Sunday and Monday could be grill mark days.
Things can change quickly.
Yep, absolutely. Well, you have a fantastic weekend. I know you're going to be doing something that you love. You know I'm going to be doing something that I love as well. I try not to cause too many of my own headlines, and we'll talk about that when it gets to be Tuesday morning. Have a great 3-day weekend. Find a veteran and thank him or her for their service. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. We're KUSG. I've gotten you from Anna and Mike. This is Ray saying, have a great weekend. This is The Point.
Opening the door. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg considering a presidential run, filing to get on the ballot in Alabama's presidential primary.
At the end of last month, we asked Democratic primary voters